Coming to you live from my apartment, it's Rob Has a Podcast. And now here's the guy who never gets invited to any house parties. I'm Rob Cesternino. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to our recap here of episode 4, a fun one to talk about. And I'm so excited to have here with us from Survivor 45 and from the Social Game Podcast. Please welcome Kellie Nalbandian. Kellie, how are you?
Oh, I'm great, Rob. I am so happy to be here. Every time I come on RHAP, I get a killer episode.
We get a banger. Yes. Okay.
We get a banger.
And Kellie, for a long time, I struggled with pronouncing your last name, but now I can say it. And now I love to say it. Nalbandian.
Oh, yeah? You did a great job. I didn't even congratulate you there, but thank you for finally getting it. You know, after hiring me and paying me to do a podcast, now it's worth your time to really know how to say
it's fun to say.
Name. It's very phonetic, everybody. It's not that scary.
Yeah. All right.
I'm glad you're having fun.
Yeah, I am. How are you doing?
I'm great. I mean, really enjoying the season. And right now, I'm still working as a nurse. I'm waiting to start my new job. And so I get to, hop on here and talk as much Survivor as I want.
Yeah, well, good. We're going to have some fun time today talking through everything that's going on. This morning, I got the chance to talk to Thomas, and I know you were so bummed out. I saw all your tweets. What was it about Thomas that you connected with so much?
I think a lot of people did, but I feel like what I love about Thomas is just this is like the kind of Survivor player that I love to watch, which is someone who's very social, but also very strategic and fun. Like he kind of hit all the check marks. And I don't know. That's like when I was going out to play Survivor, like that's like you want to like grab it by the horns and play hard, but not so hard that it's like you're doing too much. And I think Thomas did a really great job. I feel like players like him and Kamilla are my absolute favorites to watch for sure. So I'm devastated to lose him.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to know your thoughts on, now famously, some people credit you as bringing back spicy exits from Survivor. I know you're such a big Thomas fan, but are you worried that Thomas may have undone some of your work as he stood up and said, give me a hug, come on?
I know. I was like, is Thomas going to make give me a hug t-shirts? It's like another angle.
I didn't see any merch yet from Thomas.
Yeah. I mean,
But what do you think about that?
I immediately thought about it because what's so funny is I feel like Thomas was like the quote unquote villain, right, during the game, and then he's leaving and he's like the hero, and I feel like mine was the reverse. Like I'm like getting more of a hero style at it, and then on the out I'm like, screw you guys. But yeah, I mean, I did kind of expect Thomas to have a salty exit, but it was very classy of him. Good for him. I don't know. I feel like Thomas will get around too. Maybe he can redeem himself there.
Yeah, Thomas gave me a lot of different things that he was giving notes on. It was a fun exit interview this morning. Could you give Thomas any notes on his exit? Like, what about if he says like, hey, give me a hug, you sons of beep?
I would support that way more.
Yeah.
I think if you don't get bleeped in your exit, then you did something wrong, honestly, Thomas.
Yeah.
I don't have a lot of
give me a hug,
the rest of his game.
Yeah.
Honestly, Rob, keep that in the back pocket for yourself.
Yeah. That's the problem, though, with being blindsided on Survivor. I think that anything that you come up with that's going to be good to say is going to be bad because you thought of what to say.
If you come up with it it's not going to be good. Like, I don't remember saying, what the hell, guys? I have no recollection of it. That's why it was good.
Hey, want to see my De Niro face?
Yeah. I mean, peace, love, and respect, but that was my least favorite thing ever. So, I mean, anyone with a preconceived thing is not going to. So, if that's how Thomas felt in the moment.
Hey, you want to see my De Niro face?
Okay. That only is like slightly above because of the cursing.
Yeah. I got blindsided in Survivor All-Stars.
Okay. What did you do?
So I got blindsided. I didn't know it was happening, obviously. These 6-person tribes.
Inherently.
This is very tricky. And, I got there and then they started showing my name. I was like, I saw my name once and I'm like, okay, maybe this is like, the person that's going home voted for me. And then I saw the second one and then I just like started like, I'm just like mouthing the F word. Very sad and mouthing the F word. Now, I don't think it's audible.
The
Yeah.
first thing I had is a bleep. I was just like, this after the second or third vote, I was like, yep, I'm cooked. I'm toast.
Not an iconic exit by any stretch of the imagination. I did not have any sort of like canned great thing. You know, I think I would now. I think I would like, have something
You're
in
like
my back
seasoned
pocket.
up now. You've done so many podcasts. You know how to make an entrance
Yeah.
and an exit. Yeah.
But
Well,
I had nothing there.
I don't know. I don't know what to tell you, Rob. But the only thing I will say that I'm happy for Thomas is I kind of think getting voted out with a black eye is pretty iconic. It's
Yeah.
like kind of sexy.
Yeah, I
don't
think
know.
so. That
feel
was
like
a
he
good
rocked
look.
it.
That was a good
It's
look.
like I feel like having an injury on Survivor, like like Janine's chin, it like adds to your icon status. And so if he, even though he forgot his version of what the hell, guys, at least he got socked in the eye by his number one ally, correct? And Bianca.
That's right.
Him.
That's right. It's a fine line in terms of like getting medically evacuated, but getting some sort of like cool battle scar during the game is
true.
iconic.
Yes, I'm not a proponent of injuries. Okay.
What was the worst injury you got on Survivor?
Honestly, let me think. I mean, my legs were really scraped up, but I don't think I had anything
Nothing
too
exciting?
bad. I thought I got. Oh, you know what? Actually,
You get any scars?
I have one. I do have. My legs are totally scarred up, which is. I've used creams and stuff. Like I'm getting married soon, and I'm like, I really, don't want anything showing. But I did have. The challenge where you have to like climb under the. You have to like dig, and then they send the small person under the sand. Well, I wear contacts, and so I got like a ton of sand in my eyes during that, and then I had to like run around, and afterwards I'm literally like standing on the mat as Jeff is giving us and I'm like blinking like, oh, and they had to like wash my eyes out, and that was the worst thing that happened to me, which is really not that bad.
Yeah.
Sorry.
All right. Well, let's go back to what's going on with Thomas, who also had some eye-related injuries, as we've discussed. Okay. And he ends up being the victim of Kyle and Kamilla. And I got to thinking about this after I did the exit interview with Thomas of what was it about Thomas that Kyle and Kamilla picked? They could have voted out any of the three guys in that scenario. And I feel like in a way, I think that they went for the riskiest option, considering that they knew that Thomas had some kind of an advantage. And maybe that's what made him the biggest target. But yeah, they knew he lied about that, but then why was he the person they chose out of the three?
Yeah, it's definitely a risky play. I feel like what makes this move great is that it is risky. You know what I mean? Like even the full execution, the possibility of a tied vote, like all of it was risky and it paid off for them. I think maybe Kamilla, that just sort of because she had that nugget of information from Star, she was like, this is how I'm going to make the crack in the beginning. And then that's the most sensical thing for her to like keep moving forward with. I don't know. Or the other option is, I don't know if Camilla's privy to it, but maybe she knows like Thomas has heard about this and then he's going to come for her. So for Kamilla, it makes more sense to like, let me get rid of this dude. But it could also just be big brain. I think like if you're looking at this California Girls Alliance, maybe you're like Thomas is the more strategy, sneaky, scarier threat than the other two who might be like, especially Joe, I feel like is kind of giving this like firefighter-esque thing going on right now. So maybe that's why as well.
Yeah, I think that that's probably the most likely of the different answers, that they just looked at Thomas. And I think he just reads as like a sharky player.
Yeah, I think that like a lot of people have this problem, right? Like even like I wouldn't say I'm like sharky, but I think like I don't think I did anything initially to like make myself a threat, and then it was like a stink I couldn't get off. And I think Thomas, had he made it farther, would probably have also this sort of like just sort of like a lore around you, like the aura of like this person seems like they are gonna be a strategy person. It's just like
Do you think that is there something that you can do about that? Do you just read as too capable? Like, do you need to like develop?
I think Thomas
some,
also
like,
doesn't
ticks?
have like a big weakness, like I think that's like another problem that some people have. Like you could like, even like Caleb or myself or something like where it's like there's not where you can be like, oh, they're terrible at challenges or they're terrible socially or they don't know Survivor at all. Like if you have to have, I think something that makes people feel more, I don't know, less afraid of you. And I think Thomas has very few weak spots as well, which is, I mean, we all love him at home. You have to assume that everyone loves him on the beach. And then once people start to realize that, it's like, oh, everyone loves him on the beach. Like this is an issue.
Yeah. All right. Here's a question I had for you thinking about your season and all of this, Kelly, if Brando and Kendra were able to pull off what Kyle and Kamilla did, how is your life different today?
I mean, listen, I don't know. Would I still have a threat problem? Probably. I think my chances of being a millionaire are a lot higher. I saw a tweet.
What if Brando, instead of trying to impress Drew Basile with Pokemon knowledge, said, "Oh, I hate Kendra. We don't like each other."
I mean, I don't want to lose Kendra either, right? Like it was the swap. Like
they would have to dupe them. They would have said, but I guess they had no idol.
Oh, you mean dupe them?
Yeah.
Okay, not throw Kendra under the bus. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, are you kidding me? What if Austin left and I had an idol? All I did was get through Jay Maya. Listen, I can't even go down that rabbit hole, Rob. Please. But I saw a tweet that was
who had the Bello idol. Bruce found it right at the end. Right. Yeah, no one had it. And then Bruce found it eventually.
Because we were too busy sucking at Survivor to look for the idol. But there was a tweet of Kyle and Kamilla, and it was like the way they communicate without the quickness that they're able to, like, their efficiency of their strategy and the way they communicated was like why it worked so well. And that was the vibe that I felt I had with Brando. Like, we would talk sometimes for like 15 minutes a day, and I'm watching this and I'm like, oh. It would have been fun if we got the chance to do something, but that's why I have complicated feelings on swaps.
Okay, well, good. I'm glad that you're here to talk about it, because of all the new era seasons, the only one that gets a real tribe swap is like you had in Survivor 45.
I know. Like, again, we talk about this every time, Rob. It's like, what? How did this happen? I like swaps. There's like a quote.
Did you vote for a swap in Survivor 50, Kelly?
I didn't. I didn't vote yet.
Okay. Are you going to vote for a swap?
I think for Survivor 50, I'm gonna, because I want to see like the max meshing of people from whatever ends up being there. Like,
I think that's the correct answer.
I think that'll be fun. And I like a swap. I like, in general, like, I was convinced when we were going out there that we were going to have a swap. I was hoping it was going to be a 3-2.
You have like,
I had spidey senses. I don't know. It had been a while, and I was just like, and then Lulu kept losing. It seemed like, although I think the swap was pre-planned, I've seen some people be like, they only swap because of the disaster tribe, but I don't know about that. What do you think? Do you think that they just do it?
It's an interesting question, and I haven't gotten an official answer about this, so I don't want to speculate too much. I feel like that Jeff in the past has always said, "Hey, we plan everything out." I think they even say, like, in Palau, we were never gonna merge. We were always gonna just let it go down until one tribe, so they've really stuck to that. Everything is always planned out ahead of time. But I listen to the On Fire podcast. I listen to it every week to hear what Jeff has to say about things. And, he was talking about, like, in terms of like how they look at the game rules. And we're always having these conversations about, are we going to do this? Are we going to swap? Are we going to like, and the fact that he's saying, like, are we going to swap? Makes me feel like that he's talking about it like that's like a lever they could pull. I don't know why they couldn't just have in our seasons, like, hey, if things really go haywire, nobody wants to, we can't run our challenges with, one tribe has 2 people on it.
That's the only thing I'm thinking. I'm like, are they pre-planning for a swap? Because the challenges are pre-planned, presumably. And like, some of them you can't run with 2 or 3 people. So they're like, we have to build a swap in, because in the case that someone keeps losing, which seems to be a recurring theme, then there's just not going to be enough people to run this challenge. And then they just plan and say, all right, worst case scenario, could we run these with 3? Then we don't have to swap. You know what I'm saying? That's why I'm skeptical.
Let me ask you this question. And this came up yesterday. I was on Tyson's podcast, The Pod Has Spoken. And one of Tyson's co-hosts, Riley, asked me this question. I think it's a very interesting one. If like, let's say you are feeling like, hey, I've got a really good situation going. Maybe you're Thomas and you feel like, okay, I've got everything on lockdown here on the Lagi tribe. Okay. This other green tribe, they've lost 2 in a row. Do you consider throwing the challenge, to prevent a possible tribe swap? If you are of the mind that, hey, if one tribe starts getting wiped out, They're going to pull the tribe swap lever. I'm going to circumvent that by let's get rid of, we've got, let's, Star is good to go right now. Let's throw the challenge here. Take Star out. Bianca gets her vote back.
No, I mean, here, I think planning, like throwing it because you think it's going to prevent a swap is like, that's pretty big gaming there. Like, I mean,
big brain,
I don't know.
big brain. Yeah.
That's a little big brain for me.
I never thought of that before.
I am not, before I played Survivor, I was like, I would never throw a challenge ever. And like, I still kind of feel that way because it's really hard to in the moment. But having been someone who did not go to tribal pre-merge, and I really wish I did, I think it's a consideration you could make if you're on a tribe that doesn't look like they're going to lose. I mean, it's a gamble because you might swap, right? You always might swap. But I think, that would be a calculated risk from Thomas, but it may, I mean, listen, right now you're like, yes, it would have been worth it, but you don't really actually know if it actually would have been.
Now, I will say, I'm just trying to think back to Survivor 46 where, okay, so that.
Yes, didn't Yanu go down to 3 and they didn't swap? So that's why I'm like,
they didn't swap after 3, but there was the Randon medevac and then they canceled Tribal Council. So that they lost Jelinski and Jess, and then they took out Randon and they canceled Tribal Council.
And then they went back again, though.
And then they went back and voted out Banu. And then they had one more vote before they went to... so they did run a challenge with 3 people, but that the Nami tribe had lost Randon there in that spot. So it wasn't 3 in a row for the Yanu tribe.
So I guess the way you could disprove this theory was the challenge on Jem's boot episode runnable by 2 to 3 people, and if it was,
well, there was. I think they did have 3 people then.
3 people. Oh, so then they were ready for that. Then they were not planning to swap. Then they were like, whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I don't know. That's my theory. I think that they.
So you think that's a little too big brain? Don't think about throwing a challenge if you have a good thing going.
You know what? If you want to play that game, by all means, do the big brain. But that's not, I think that's too, like, you got to keep your feet on the ground in the game that's happening right in front of you. Would be my advice.
Okay.
And set yourself up for whatever.
So for Kyle and Kamilla, this was so fun and so impressive. And I don't think that any 2 players had ever been able to pull this off. I mean, they had not seen Survivor 47, and in Operation Italy, I saw people on the
a lot of comparisons,
calling it Operation Guyana.
Oh, I love that. I know the name like actually makes sense with them. Yeah, I don't want to have a controversial take. I think I like this almost even more. Both were great.
This is better than Operation Italy.
Andy lives near me, so I can't have this tape.
Clip this. Clip this. Okay,
don't clip this.
Kelly, tell me why you think that Operation Guyana is better than Operation Italy.
I think they're okay. I think they're a little different, and let me give you my 2 cents here. Like, Operation Italy, brilliant. By the time it's happening, I feel like we know all the players super well. We know that these 3 are like really strategic. We know they're capable of it. It's like completely lit. I don't want to take away from how amazing it is. They totally smash it. But this right here to me is like very pure Survivor. The people don't know each other that well yet. It's only been a few days. They're put in this like brand new tribe. They don't know everybody. I don't know. I feel like it's very like raw skill based to me, in terms of like, obviously there's advantages and things at play for sure. And I'm not going to there's some luck and some effort in getting that done. But I think it's kind of fun to see. It's like this authentic gamer muscle kind of being flexed here by them, both in the acting and the lead up. Like, it was just chef's kiss all the way through.
Respectfully, I would like to disagree. I would like to say that I think that Operation Italy is actually the thing that you're describing of people just getting by with gumption and gameplay over actual overpowered advantage, not even overpowered advantages, that Kyle and Kamilla actually got through this situation. Now, look, that not to take anything away from the amazing acting performances from them both, especially Kamilla, but they also had an idol and an extra vote at their disposal. So
Very
other
true.
than the only way that this could have been foiled was had Thomas played his steal a vote. That was the only thing that could have stopped them. And so they successfully got Thomas to not play his steal a vote. But in a world where Thomas doesn't have the steal a vote, they actually could just show up there like, hey, we got an idol and an extra vote. Guess what? One of you three is going home. Who's coming with us? Like they could have like basically done like the Three Amigos to them whereas Operation Italy, that Andy and Genevieve and Sam actually were in the minority. They actually didn't have the numbers.
And I will say the thing I love the most about Operation Italy is like lying about having idols and stuff. I think it's so great when people use an advantage topic, but not the advantage itself. I love that. That's manipulating the game, and that is my favorite part of Operation Italy. I think it's brilliant.
In the words of Val Collins, they had nothing. They got them to split the vote.
Very impressive.
They had a fake idol, so they got.
Do you think like the payoff though of what happens, right? Like obviously great move for all three of them, but they don't end up winning.
They don't end up winning.
We got to see what happens.
Just as a move, yeah.
This was a strict move, but does that add to the lore of the move, whether or not it gets you to the end or not?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't want to poo-poo
this could
on
also
what
put
happened.
a huge target on Kyle and Kamilla, so I don't know.
Kyle and Kamilla played their hand perfectly. I guess, and I'm not a big poker person, but like they had like a pair of aces that they played perfectly, as opposed to Operation Italy. They had like a 2 and a jack, and they were able to get through it.
Okay, fair, Rob. You can win this argument. But I just meant like, we don't know them as well, and they don't know each other as well. And I think there's a lot of great social.
What do you mean they don't know each other as well? They have the same favorite movie?
Well, Kyle and Kamilla, but I meant the whole. Yeah, I meant the whole tribe. Yes, I know.
Yeah, the whole tribe. Yes,
Kyle and Kamilla, the whole tribe. Yeah, that's better than the name Vula, honestly, which is like too adjacent to other things.
Yeah, no good.
Yeah, not my favorite.
Okay,
it should have been the holes, I guess.
Look, $4 quarters or $1.
I named tribes, so. Listen, call me up, Jeff.
You do this for other tribes too?
No, well, I named my merge tribe is what I'm saying.
Oh, what did you name the merge tribe?
You don't remember?
I don't.
Trivia question.
I'm very bad. Famously, I hate when they just combine the names, but also unless the name is like America, like I feel like that they're all pretty nondescript.
I would never want to name it that or be remembered for that. No,
what was your merge tribe name?
I'm very proud of
what is it?
That's Dakuwaka. It's a Fijian shark god. It's like their most important god.
I thought that's what Fozzie Bear says.
I don't know who that is.
Waka Waka.
Okay. That feels... Listen, that's an important god, Rob, okay? Don't disrespect the shark god.
Tell me about the Fijian god.
Okay, so I had gone, I was a season 43 alternate, and they asked me when I was there preseason, what would you name the merge tribe? And I had nothing. I'd said some stupid thing, and I was like, I am not getting caught looking dumb with Dalton Ross again. So I came prepared to season 45. And so I was looking up, like, I don't know, I just thought it would be cool. I was looking up, like, mythology, Fijian mythology, and I came across this shark god who's, like, their most important god. He's, like, a total badass. He protects the fishermen, whatever. And I was like, Dakuwaka is a dope name. It's pretty cool. But I was only knowing it so I didn't look stupid in pregame press. I wasn't like, I'm going to name the merge tribe. But no one was really throwing anything out there. And so I threw it out there and it stuck.
Kelly, as an alternate, do you feel like that you really aced your pregame press for Survivor 45, that you had like the dry run?
You know what? I feel like I could have done better. In terms of certain things, but
you must have done something right, because a lot of people like really were very high on you from the jump.
I think it helps because I knew, of course it helps. I mean, I also though, before season 43, I watched when I was in the hotel room before we go, I'm like watching the preseason interviews, preparing with what I would say. I just didn't prepare this merge tribe one. I think it didn't come up during the previous one. So I watched like everyone's and was preparing, but that's who I am. I'm like a neurotic preparer over planner. A lot of people aren't like that. So I would suggest doing that. It's also kind of a fun exercise just to get you like, a lot of the questions make you think about your strategy and stuff. So I think it's a good pregame thing to do. I don't know.
Yeah. Do you watch the preseason coverage now, or you just go in raw dog?
You know what? I watch it here and there. I like to see if anyone says anything really funny or anything about me, which was lacking this season.
I mean, that's everybody. All the survivors do that.
Yeah, of course. Everyone wanted to talk about Charlie this time. Charlie's the star of the season 48 pregame press.
Yes. Oh, good for Charlie.
Good for Charlie.
Yeah. I mean, in fairness, they just watched his season.
That's true. I know. And Kyle just dunked on season 46.
I don't think anybody's talked about me since Drew Basile, and I think it was like Cochran was before that.
Oh, okay. That's why you always have Drew on the podcast, because
I love Drew. I love Drew on the podcast. You know, he has Drew is
great.
One of my favorites to have on the podcast.
I know. I mean, he's got a big brain. Talk about big brain.
Kelly, I have so many favorites from the new era. Like I've really, nobody's benefited more from the new era than me. I don't want, no, that's arbitrary and reductive. But there's so many smart young people that have come through, and present company included, who are so great at talking about the game. You know, some people say like, hey, like, where are all the people that aren't the super fans? But you know what? These are the best podcast guests. Okay, keep them coming, Survivor.
I mean, I wasn't a super fan, but I think I became one throughout the process.
Yeah, you were a over-preparer. You were somebody who,
yeah. But you know what? That's also the nature, I think, of being an alternate, at least, I think. You can ask some other people, you can ask Shaheen and Rachel what they think about that, but I think you just have so much time to like obsess. And
remind me, what was your Survivor origin story? You found it during COVID?
I'm a COVID watcher. Then I applied like really late, like in January, and they called me and they're like, we're basically done casting everyone. But then they like pushed me through and I went out for 43. And then.
Yeah. And what was it that attracted you to it during COVID? It was just something to watch, or somebody in your life was already
one of my really good friends who's also a nurse. She's actually going to be in my wedding. I owe her a lot, clearly. We were like up in Cape Cod over New Year's during COVID because there's like nothing to do and no one wants to hang out with us. And so she's like, I've been watching Survivor. It's like, really, I think you'd like it, Kelly, like whatever. So she put on Heroes, Villains. And so like that was done and dusted. I was like thrilled with it. And then I went back and watched a bunch. Yeah.
Oh, well, I went back and rewatched Heroes versus Villains on the Patreon podcast feed, but more about that later on when I do the plugs. Okay.
Love that.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you, from after this tribal council, big move happens. Thomas goes home. What do you think we see at the start of the next episode when Kyle and Kamilla come back to camp with Joe and Shaheen? Balloons, a party.
Wow. Somehow I just set off balloons over my thing. I always set off some weird stuff like thumbs up or fireworks. I don't know what I'm doing. Sorry.
Anyway, I just go with
it's not going to be balloons in a party at the Vula Beach, I don't think. I don't know. I do feel like Shaheen, especially, and probably Joe, will kind of be a little like, damn, like, good one, guys. You know, like, and you kind of have to do that anyway. I think they're just gonna be like, holy crap, these guys are sharks, these guys are aces, like whatever. And then it'll be interesting. Do Joe and Shaheen like try to pick one of them out, or do they turn on each other to like preemptively prepare for a potential next tribal? I'd be surprised if they go again, but I was surprised they went this time. So
again, Kyle and Kamilla, super impressive. I lobbied for Kamilla to get a solo fishy, but Steven said give it to them both. But I do wonder that was it a mistake? And I saw this on Twitter, and I wish I had could attribute it to the person that asked this question. That did Kamilla and Kyle by proxy make a mistake? That should Kamilla have voted for Kyle? Although, I think I can give you the answer for why she didn't. Yeah. To at least play off the, hey, what, Kyle, why didn't you tell me you had an idol?
Yeah, that's a good point. I'm thinking about this live.
Well, and I can tell you the answer why, and you tell me where you think that the risk was.
Okay.
I think that, so they're back, that was plan A. Kyle's going to play the idol. But what if they were lying to everybody and they were going to put the votes on Kamilla? Their backup plan was that they were going to force the 3-3 tie on their 3 votes, and then the 3 guys would have the 3 votes also. And I believe in having the tie break that way, her passing the extra vote to Kyle allowed Kyle to still have voting. 2 votes in the tie break. So I think that that's what they were protecting against. Whereas that if everything went according to plan, it would have been better for Kamilla, but they would have then taken this like fail-safe plan B option of if they put the votes on Kamilla.
So even though this looks inherently more risky, it's actually not as risky. This is the way to cover their butts.
Yes, they were prepared against. The only thing that could have stopped them was if Thomas ends up using the vote steal and then taking one of their 3 votes to then have 4 votes for the guys and then only 2 votes for them. And if they would have split the votes 2-2, that's the only thing that the guys, the California girls, could have done to prevent this disaster.
Yeah. So did you ask Thomas, like, why didn't you tell them about the advantage, or what? Where do you land on that?
Well, he what he had said was that he was thinking old school. He said that those guys would not have liked the idea that he was telling a lie to them. He wanted to save this advantage for down the road. He needed to get through this tribal council. He thought there was a 1 in 6 chance that Kyle had an idol from his original camp, and he didn't think it was that likely that that was going to happen. He also said that in the part of the story that Kamilla really sold to Joe and Shaheen, he was not there for. He said he would have picked up on some things that she was saying that didn't add up. He said he had some notes on her performance. And so
he got a lot of notes.
He had a lot of notes. I like it. That's good podcast energy.
Like, I was going to say he would be a great addition to the new era super fan podcast list. I think like everyone wants to lie about stuff when they go on, and I'm so proponent of that. But like when stuff like this happens, this is why people are honest after the journeys, and everyone gets all like up in arms and they're mad. But it's like sometimes it can come back to bite you, because especially the early journeys, especially when everyone's doing the same exact thing. Like there's been a few journeys where they do separate stuff or whatever, but like I think it's just it's getting so hard to like successfully hide a journey lie from like episode 2 or 3, because someone's gonna figure it out. The other thing was, I'm a little mad about this. I got yelled at for bench talking, okay? Twice. I saw Claire Rafson and I said, I'm going to do that if I'm on the bench. And the first time I was on the bench, it was me and Brando. I thought we were going to lose that challenge. Unfortunately, we did not. And Dee and Julie were on the side, and we had like 2 seconds of chatting. All I got through was that I'm a nurse, and that was it. And they were like, shush. And then me and Emily, and I got yelled at for talking to Emily. I'm like, what the heck? Now, this is like a really important bench talk.
Because I was going to give credit to Claire Rafson, who was a game changer, that she changed it all up with this bench talk. But then I don't know. I'm trying to think of, has there been bench talk in between now and then where they have let it fly?
Not that it made air. I mean, I'm sure. Like, I don't know. I think because it was later in the game when I was sitting with Emily, and I think we immediately, in true like Emily flippin' fashion, it was like immediately gamey, where it was like with Dee and Julie, it was very like like it was early, and we were like, what do you do, where are you from? Like I think Dee told me she was from Miami. I was like, of course. And then I said I was a nurse, and that was it. And then they didn't really care. And then the challenge
was it just like chit chat during the challenge, and it wasn't like game talk? It wasn't like, hey,
it was
what happened on the
chit-chat
journey?
In the beginning, but it was also it was the 3rd week. I feel like if we were too intense, it would have come off bad. Like, you know what I mean? If you're like super gaming on the bench, especially with 2 people, it was a little scarier than just one. But I really I was like told to with Emily. So yeah. But anyway, props for using it. I think I am
the new era is fluid.
Yeah.
It's evolving.
Just like the Pokemon that Brando talked to him about.
Yes. Yeah. So, all right. That's going to be very fun to see how that ultimately plays out. Because Shaheen, he was really sold on Kamilla.
Yeah. They kind of did Shaheen dirty with all his confessionals. I was like, damn.
That's why I really thought he was going home. I was really surprised that it ended up being Thomas, up until the point where Thomas had like the last confessional or the last word at Tribal Council, talking about like his journey.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I also thought, that's so funny, because I was like watching that. Obviously, this is in real time. Kyle and Kamilla do their sort of like funeral speech before Thomas. And I was like, man, slow claps. They're even nailing their funeral speeches.
Yeah.
Like they are like Mary, you see her tweet. It was like, if I send you this, I'm committing to the bit, and she's lying in the water.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, they're committing. I think Kyle playing his idol still committed to the bit, which I am, I'm all for. And then Thomas gave his, and I was like, okay, I guess everybody got a chance. But I kind of lost track of what you asked me, Rob, to be honest. But
well, I want to ask you about what you thought of Jeff during the tribal council, and Jeff talked about this on the On Fire podcast. But I thought that Jeff did a really good job of selling that this is like our tribal council tonight is between Kyle and Kamilla, and we're basically going to give them.
Jeff was like kind of in. I was like, does Jeff know? I don't think he does. I don't think he really. He actually one time said to me he like tries to not know that much before, but I think. It looked like on screen for a second. I was like, he's like in on the joke here. Like he's in on the plot. He's like poking the fire. But then I think he does kind of do a good job, and not all of it makes air of just like kind of giving everyone an opportunity to do this type of thing. So it looks equal, but he's still secretly stifling the outcome that would be most interesting.
To me, it reminded me of the tribal council that's in Survivor 44, where and I think it's also a 5-person tribal council, where it's that Jam Jam and Matt Blankenship have been switched over, and one of them is going to go out at this tribal council, and then Heidi has the block a vote, but it's basically, what is it? Lauren and Brandon and Jamie, right? They have the 3 votes at that tribal council. This is like the weird one where that they did this the
mini swap.
Mini swap.
One person left.
And basically it was like Matt Blankenship and Jam Jam were like fighting for their lives, and they were both like telling their story and what it
Matt
meant to them.
Blankenship didn't have a yes. Okay.
Yeah.
No.
And he didn't have a shot in the dark and anything like that.
I was gone, I think, this was airing, or it was right before. So my memory.
Maybe. Yeah. But I thought that was like presented the same way. Well, one of these two people, their journey is ending tonight, and they both like, and Jam Jam like really was great. And he gets like talked all about like what the game means to him. And that was like Kamilla, who was she was in
crying.
Tears. She was in tears.
Which was really, I am so impressed. Oh my God.
She's incredible, but like great method acting of like, she really had to like go there of like, think about like what this journey means to her, and that she's like doing.
I think there might be like, you can ask Kamilla, maybe she's just a stone cold killer, but I think there might be like truth to what she's saying. And
there has to have been.
Yeah. I think that's I tweeted this about Rachel last season, like when she was sitting on the beach, I think with Andy, I don't remember. And she was like getting emotional and crying, but manipulating them. But she still felt the emotion, but it was still manipulating them.
Well, I thought of Rachel too. That remember Rachel's funeral, where I think that this is like a new meta in the game of like, that not just people are going to play their idol, but they go through all of the motions of like that they have to really sell and act like they're going home that night.
It's a new era, committing to the bit.
Like this is like, that you have these iconic idol plays, and I have to go back and watch Survivor Second Chances, but I don't think that, Kelly Wentworth like is like going on about how like it's going to be me tonight, and there's nothing I can do, and I worked so hard to be here, and I got everybody to vote for me, like, and in tears. But now players are doing this. Like players are having like the emotional breakdown at tribal council. It's like facing their own mortality in the game before they play the idol.
There's just like so much other crap now, though. Even the shot in the dark. No advantages. Lovingly.
You have to convince everybody not to play all their stupid things.
To the very last moment that you pulled out of your pocket, you better make sure nobody else is going to pull any other stuff out of their pocket. So I think that just, incentivizes people to just really go for it, which is fun TV. But I think, I love this move from Kyle and Kamilla. I do believe in them. I think like this is a very strong duo, but it's like, when you're that good at this, that is a little like alarm bells for Shaheen and Joe, which will presumably be passed around to the rest of the group.
But just one other thing, like going back to Mary last week, where Mary, Say was really fixated. Why is she swimming? She should be out doing like the players are so smart and so sophisticated about how, okay, a player who's going home is going to be going through like blah, 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 should be acting this way at tribal council. And it's like, if one thing is off, all these alarm bells go off. Like it's really wild.
Yeah. I mean, it's like they're, It's like you're thinking about what they think they should be doing, and then you have to think about what they think you should be doing. And now it's like you're getting to level like 4, 5, 6 of the reverse thought at this point. It's like, well, Mary is pretending, but is she only pretending because she wants me to think that she's.
How about for Kyle and Kamilla moving forward? Okay, let's just say hypothetically they get through the next tribal council, they get into the merge, but the story of this is going to get passed around to people. Do you feel like that their threat level, like as a duo, is going to be off the chart when other people hear about what they did?
I would think so. The only thing in their favor is they were backed into a corner. Like, it wasn't like they just conjured up this plan and like screwed someone and like whatever, like went to all these great lengths and they didn't necessarily need to, or they were in the majority. Like they looked screwed objectively. So like they have to full send it if they're in the minority on the tribe. Right. So it's like, well, we're kind of forced to doing it, but then they did such a great job. It's like, but I don't know. I kind of feel like the Siva fours kind of give me a little Reba 4 vibes. Like, I feel like they're pretty locked in, besides Charity and Mitch, I guess. So I don't know. I think that it's going to be impossible to fully wipe that off. Like, that is the best move so far, hands down.
Yeah, it did seem like when we were going through like the winners and losers of the episode that, if David is linked up with Kyle and Kamilla, then David also picked up a bunch of allies that like I definitely could see there being some sort of like alliance at the merge of that Siva 4 plus whatever stragglers that David is able to pick up along the way.
Yeah. That's why I'm kind of hoping that the new, I mean, both tribes, either the other two tribes will be both very interesting to watch go tribal. But if new Loggy goes, I would love to see what happens there. Because obviously Mary has been absolutely so much fun to watch. And she's in this interesting position here. Like Eva's throwing Star under the bus, David's throwing Charity under the bus. Then you got Mary. I would love to see what happens there. And maybe that's where, David and Mary can have a bond and Mary could jump on this alliance. Who knows? But I would love to see that. That's my wish for next week.
Let's pick up on the tribe that David is on, and which is he's on New Loggy, and it's David's and David's Angels there together. And we saw that David and Eva have picked things up together, and now Eva has a new buddy in David. Now I'm wondering that could Eva be the glue that ends up connecting David to the guys from Loggy?
The guys from Loggy.
The guys from old Loggy. Joe and Shaheen.
Yeah, that's the thing is then David has to become a middle-esque player, which I don't know. If I don't know him. All he talks about is milk. So it's hard for me to know, like, is he this kind of is he willing to be Sharky? Is he willing to
Where do you
kind of
stand on
double-cross?
milk?
I mean, I don't really I think drinking a lot of milk is weird. I'm sorry, David. I like him.
He hates water, Kelly. Now, as a nurse, what's your reaction to that?
I mean, that's not healthy, David. I know that he really believes in the power of chocolate milk, but no, I would not say that's the most healthy thing.
He's very lactose tolerant.
Yeah, I think half the country could not tolerate David's diet. We would have, wreckage in the public bathrooms if everybody was drinking that much milk. So, my official nurse stance.
What did he say? Does he drink a gallon of milk a day?
Also,
or a half gallon?
You know what? He's totally the guy, again, David lovingly, with a whole jug, and he like carries it around with him, like the actual jug from the store, which I said on the Social Game podcast is a bit of an ick for me.
Which thing? But people that carry the jug of water or chocolate milk?
A jug of water, but specifically like the plastic jug straight from the grocery store. Like if you put it in your big ass Stanley, fine. Everyone's got a big cup these days. I'm not going to.
Well, the milk needs to stay refrigerated.
Yeah, that is. But I don't know. He's talking about it like he's slinging it back like so quickly. I don't know.
Yeah,
maybe he's got a special sleeve for his milk gallon.
Yeah, I would like
merch
to imagine
opportunity
that David has like a big Stanley cup that he keeps it cold, and he keeps his chocolate milk ready to go.
You know what? I I'm gonna gift David. Maybe I shouldn't. It would be funny if we got him a custom Stanley that just
Yeah,
said
what should it
milk.
say on it?
Okay. Got milk feels basic. I feel like we need a nod to the 4 nipples. Or new idea. He could open up a bar called the 4 Nipples and only serve different types of milk.
A milk bar. Now, I think
Milk
actually, a
bar.
milk bar is a place. Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he has to call it something else.
He has to call it something else. Okay. I mean, but see, I'm all for, like, I love the idea of business ideas for David because I think that it helps solve the problem of, like, the finance issue.
He broke my heart. Poor guy. He's like, my girlfriend's going to break up. I don't know.
I think his girlfriend did break up with him.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
Listen.
Which sounds like an ex-girlfriend.
Ladies, if you're out there and you love milk, you know you're a guy. I love how he was like, he came into this and I feel like he was like, I am a feminist icon. He was like, I love women and I'm going to let everybody know it. And I was like, you know what, David? Me too.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
Yeah. Now, Kellie, your fiance didn't say to you, Kellie, if you don't win the $1 million, this relationship is over, correct?
Correct. She never said that. She literally, knowing me and confirmed by how I what the hell guys did, was literally just like waiting for the day that she knew I made the jury because she was like, I'm concerned about you if you go home early because I don't think I would handle it well.
Yeah.
And so she was just so relieved that I made it like midway that money didn't even matter. She was just so excited.
Yeah. Well, I think that we've seen many times, it's kind of a reality TV trope that we've seen many people who are parents who they have a story of, hey, we need this money. I'm trying to support my family. David is, I think, one of the first reality TV contestants. And I feel like that we've seen like there's different like women who are having like issues with like conceiving and we need this money to start a family. But David,
I probably would have said that had I got to Final Tribal because it's expensive to have.
That is expensive. That is expensive. But David, I think, is the first reality TV contestant that I can remember to say that, hey, I need this money for my hypothetical family.
Look at him. Yet another game changer.
A game changer.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, it kind of made me sad too. I don't know. But you know what? It humanized him. He's getting he's a real hero right now.
They love him.
He's like that. What is that? Like Wreck-It Ralph? That's who I'm like akinning him to in my head. He's got the big hammer. He's like, where's my girlfriend? I'm willing to chop down many trees as a lumberjack to find one. They're really sweet.
Yeah, I like that.
But you know what? Not for nothing. He's in a good spot in his tribe. So he's doing something right, even on a swap.
He's in a good spot. And, you know, I think that for whatever reason, like people are sort of sleeping on David in terms of a strategic threat. I think that you saw Charity, who's underestimating him, like, oh, David, he's just a big, dumb idiot. Like, we'll just tell him whatever. He doesn't care. I just tell him what to do. And he has been showing that he knows more than he's letting on.
Yeah, this is like a reverse when you have like someone, I don't know, like who's like small and whatever, like it's like a reverse of that. Like you can make it's like they're not a threat because they're so tiny, whatever. He's like, if you play, you know, dumb and huge, that might be the new way to actually skirt through this game.
Yeah. I wonder if that's something in the new era. And we haven't seen too many like big guys who are like
Austin maybe is like the most successful. Although David
I was going to say, even Jonathan in Survivor 42, who's the biggest guy we've seen, he got to the final 4 fire making, where once upon a time, I think you would have said like, nah, like no way. Like, he'll get taken out at the merge. But I think that people like are sleeping on some of these players of like, hey, but do they have it upstairs? Yeah, they're big. But are they, you know, especially that's why Justin was my winner pick, that he has the long hair. But like Austin was like a strong guy and he had long hair.
Oh, long hair is a criteria for your winner picks?
Well, no, long hair is, I think people think that they're kind of just a dude bro. But did people have were they sleeping on Austin in terms of like, I don't know, is he actually smart?
I mean, I didn't spend that many time.
He has muscles
in the game with him, but I think it always yes, if you're like a big muscly dude, the assumption is that that's been who you are forever. You've
Mm-hmm.
always been, and like Austin has not had that. Like he's had a different sort of like journey through his life. So I think that
He
gave
was a
him
late
an
bloomer.
edge. Yes, remember his sob story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know. But I think like maybe not because I thought he was like pretty smart, but I more thought other people would target him earlier than they did.
Yeah.
For being big, which now just people don't seem to care about
It
anymore.
doesn't seem like that's one of the criteria. Like it's interesting in the new era. People are like, oh, Thomas. Okay, he's the guy. We got to
That's what I
go
was saying
after a
earlier.
Thomas. But a David, like, he's fine.
That was I mean, I said this in my aforementioned pregame press is just like, I don't think there's no way to define threat anymore in the new era, especially not traditionally. So yeah, if you see someone like David, that could be an absolutely very attractive ally because, you know, you think that if you go to the end against him, you could beat him. And if David can dupe them, then that's
Mm-hmm.
great for him. But honestly, I mean, he isn't like, I'm looking at this tribe. I'm like, he's but maybe Mary's in a better, maybe Mary, but like he's really in a good spot in this group.
Yeah.
Which is great into the merge as well. He's going to have probably the most connections if he can make it there.
We saw Eva tell David right off the bat, hey, I'm offering up Star on a silver platter.
I've
Go
never
for it.
seen that. Wow. There was
Mm-hmm.
actually a lot of things this episode there. I feel like everybody was just like, I'm just saying it. Like at the swap mats, so I would say it was like, this is what's going to happen. And even Bianca was like, I'm so sad to leave. I'm like, keep it a little closer to your chest, guys. Like, you
Yeah.
know, I don't know. But anyway, yeah, that was a choice. You know, I think that's
What do you
that.
say? Okay, you got swapped. What do you say there? Do you just say like, do you say anything?
I'm a feel outer. You know what I mean? I would rather feel out. Honestly, I think what Bianca did is if you're in, that's how you should try to approach it. I want to give Bianca flowers for that. It's just like you
Bianca
want to like
Roses.
Bianca. Oh, love that for me. Bianca, I want to give her roses. And like Caleb did this as well with us. It's like if you are in this position where you don't know everybody and this tribe is very mixed, you should try to one-on-one with everyone and just sort of get a gut check vibe. And if anyone
Yeah.
will tell you something, you know, like where they're like, oh, Cedric blindsided me. That's the kind of information you want to get and then decide who you want to throw under the bus or whatever. Because I think if you're someone who comes in hot and throws somebody else under the bus, the only thing where that's bad is, yes, that might get you through right now. But then someone's like, well, this person is clearly willing to throw anyone loudly and in front of everybody under the bus, which is risky.
Yeah. What do you want to hear? Okay, let's do. You're on the mat. You're going to tribe swap. What do you want to hear from people before the tribe swap?
It's not fun, but I feel like, you know, what you like strategically want to do is like talk about opportunity, talk about making connections, talk about whatever. Like keep it fluffy and BS so you don't give anything away. For TV, it's more fun if everybody wants to, you know, talk some crap and whatever. But like the one time I said like, oh, there's a bunch of big dudes over there. I'm not afraid of big dudes. And I instantly regretted it because I was like, crap, what am I doing? Like, but I was just like
You get in the
riffing with
moment.
Jeff
But
and
did
I got a
it
little
have
carried
any
away.
sort of like an impact?
I was just like, does it help if I'm like, I'm not afraid of guys, like blah, blah, blah. It's not helpful. I don't think it had any impact.
Well, can I ask, because you played in a season that had maybe the most famous of like the mat chat in the new era when Emily talked about like, hey, Bruce, like, you know, he's been here before. Like that's not right. And how did that change how you looked at Emily?
Oh, I mean,
and you came to know her much later, but
I
like
love
as
Emily.
first impressions though.
Oh, I mean, I was literally, if you asked me all the scenarios that would happen on the mat at the first day of Survivor, that is the last thing I expected anyone to ever do. Like that was truly, and it wasn't just her calling out Bruce, it was the way she did it and the doubling down. I think she even did it twice. Once didn't make it, but she was like, let me push back on that. It was like, we were like, let's play nice. And then she was like, actually, no. And then I remember, I think Caleb and Brandon were behind Emily and they were just like, oh my God. Like everyone was just like gagged. So I was like, this is hilarious. This is great. I'm glad this person's not on my tribe because I don't know if I want to deal with this right now. For as long as it's not going to directly impact you, I think it's great if somebody wants to, kind of show who they are immediately.
You all had known Bruce was going to be on the season, right? Because it had been out there.
We weren't sure.
Okay. That
I
Jeff had
didn't think he was gonna
invited
be.
Bruce back, but we didn't
Yeah.
know it was going to be necessarily for the next season.
Yeah, because it was also like that episode, we leave, and I think we only left in the mirrors. Maybe we left at the Josh's boot was the last thing
Okay.
so that's like what, 6 episodes? 5 maybe?
I think it was 5.
That was recent.
Oh, no, 6, and that was Mergatory, right?
When Jeff was like, and this was me like not having full knowledge of whatever the back end casting as much as I do now, but like I was like, that feels quick, because Bruce was like acting surprised on social media, which I don't know if he was or not. I actually have never asked him. So I was like, that turnaround time from like it's March.
Wait, what was he surprised about? That he got picked?
Jeff said that on the podcast. I feel like his social media was like, oh my God, I can't believe this. Like whatever, when Jeff said he would bring him back, it was as if it was a surprise to Bruce, which I guess now probably wasn't. So in my mind, I was like 45 would be such a quick turnaround. It's probably going to be 46. But I recognized him immediately he had a mask up, but I was like, that bald head anywhere.
Yeah. I think that was the first episode of the On Fire podcast.
Oh my God, I think it was.
I think that they started it. And I think that maybe they were just like, hey, we got to do big things. Like, call up Bruce. Let's tell him he's back on.
So if you're telling me that I have the On Fire podcast to blame for maybe losing Survivor.
That you talked to Bruce on the first episode of your podcast too, right?
Oh, yeah. How could I forget? Man, that was honestly, if you haven't seen that,
you do big things in the first episode of the podcast. You got to make news.
Performance there rivals Kamilla's tonight. That was incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, it's interesting in terms of like just how much people take away from these like little interactions on the mat. But then you got to,
because you don't get to see anyone else. I mean, like you only see them for a tiny time. So in my mind, that's like same with the bench stuff. I was like on the bench when I'm talking to D, I'm like, I want to tell people I'm a nurse. That was like my strategy. I was like, everyone loves nurses. I'm going to make it known. So I was like, this is the one thing they're going to know about me. I want to control that narrative as much as I can. And I think most other people approach it that way too. But some people are like putting on the show a little bit.
And then I'd get like my new buff and I'd put it on and I'd say to my old tribe, bye, losers. This is my new tribe now.
Otherwise known as the losers.
Sorry for you.
Sorry for you.
Yeah. Don't give me a hug.
For Jeff.
Yeah.
God. Rob, you are swearing so much.
I'm sorry.
Love it, though.
I'm sorry.
You're getting crazy with this bleep button. If I swear, will it automatically bleep me, or do you have to do that in post?
You have to like signal to me that you're going to do it.
I'm gonna not.
And
honestly, I always thought I'm so surprised I didn't say what the fuck, guys. Honestly.
So you could have given me a heads up.
No, I didn't want to give you a heads up.
Okay. All right.
I want to give Sam more work.
You think Sam edits the podcast?
I don't.
I mean, he does. In fairness, he does. Like, if like something goes wrong on the video, he does.
You can make
like,
Brandon do it.
Yeah,
he's used to editing out Michelle and I's bleeps and swear. Actually, I think we leave it in.
Yeah, it's fine.
Getting raunchy on RHAP.
Who on this cast do you really relate to?
Oh, hard question. I loved Thomas. Was really one of my favorites. Maybe like I feel like Bianca a little bit. And I mean, I love how Kamilla played it. I think she's better than me, so I don't want to compare myself to her. I think like personality wise, I would say Bianca and Kamilla and Thomas. Thomas, like if Thomas was kind of like if I took like a slightly more evil route, which I kind of thought I would have, and then I ended up not. That I think that would be,
Yeah.
Is that an acceptable answer?
I mean, there's no wrong answer.
Maybe Kyle too. I like Kyle.
Yeah.
I think he's very measured. You know what I mean? Like he plays a smart game. He's very social. He knows how to like connect with everybody. He's so positive though. When he was like, "Oh, dude, that's awesome." It was so sweet, but I don't think I would have said that.
What Kyle when he talked about David living in the
he's just such a positive dude, and I'm like, I'm not. I have a little twinge of cynicism in me.
Yeah. Well, what would you say if David told you he lives in a trailer on his dad's front yard?
I really walked myself into this one, didn't I? I don't know. I'd be like, wow, it's so nice you get to spend so much time with your dad.
With your dad. Like, no, it's like my dad sucks. What was that nice?
Well, you know what? If anything I've learned from survivors, you can rebuild relationships just like Mary and say it's possible.
It's possible. Yeah. All right. Well, speaking of Say, we haven't talked at all about the new tribe that she's on. Now, listen, you were witness to some people who didn't always have great relationships in your Survivor season. And
Can you
now,
imagine if I just told them to get along like Cedric? My problems would be solved.
yeah. Okay. But Say does not feel so great about Cedric. I mean, Cedric, though, I think is under
As
the
she
impression.
should.
Yeah. But Cedric, I think, feels like, hey, this is water under the bridge. We're good.
I mean, that's crazy, respectfully. Are you kidding? He voted for her. And I don't know. I think if you look at Say, it's like I would assume that she plays hard and fast and like she'll always have her game face on, which I totally respect. Like, I don't think you should safely be like, oh, this is totally going to be water under the bridge. No problem.
Yeah.
She comes across like somebody who will harbor that and then, slice it when she needs to.
Okay. Well, I think that Bianca is in such an interesting dilemma and predicament here in this tribe that she has no vote. She's there with two pairs. One of the pairs, the pair that she has engaged with, happens to be a dysfunctional pair. And so how do you think that Bianca should handle this? And then how do you think it will go?
So this is why it's like, oh, such a bummer she lost her vote. Because if she didn't, like she would be in control of this group easily. And then
but can I just make, I know there's so much, like this is going to be hot take territory, Kelly. And I know there's so much discourse about like, stop taking away the people's votes. But like, isn't this more interesting now? Like, isn't this such a predicament?
You're not going to get me to agree to lost votes. It's never going to happen. I got burned by them. Too many people get burned by them. Survivor is about voting. I don't like it.
Because Bianca, it would be interesting. Bianca would
do.
She would have so much power if she had her vote. But she has to. I think this is imminently more interesting that she doesn't have her vote.
Sure, fine. It's slightly more interesting. I'm not happy about
if you are like me and you are like, okay, well, I'm here to see the chaos unfold.
Yeah, that's true. You know what? I feel like now when I like watch Survivor, it's like a little different for me because I'm just like the veil has lifted a slight bit. And I mean, I don't know, maybe you're removed a while, Rob. I don't know. I feel sad. Like I just feel sad. Like I just like think about myself in these people's shoes. Sometimes I'm just like, this sucks if you lose your vote, or this sucks if you don't. And that pisses me off because like you come on Survivor to like utilize your social capital and your strategy. And I think this is the type of player Bianca is. But if she can successfully do this with no vote, it's even more impressive. So maybe it's an opportunity. That's how I would spin it to Jeff. Is it's an opportunity to do something even greater than what's been done before.
It's going to be an interesting obstacle for her to overcome. Like, could it be the thing that kills her game, or could it be the thing that ultimately propels her into a win? I think the answer is we'll see. Yeah. It's really,
this is literally, it could really go either way, I think. I mean, I guess the thing I think maybe she should do is stoke a issue between the Vulas and like get them to publicly fight. If possible. And one of them, and just hope that one of them blows up their game. Okay.
So she has gotten the information from Say that there is a problem between Cedric and Say. You think the right move for her is to sort of like inflame the situation and get them arguing to the point where maybe Say wants to turn on Cedric?
Yeah, because I don't think she has any realization that Chrissy and Mitch aren't that close. Maybe she does. Right. I don't know. If she does, then this makes this even more of a conundrum. But she could probably safely assume that Chrissy and Mitch are a better pair than the two others. So I think maybe the play is try to get them to be stoking, go to Chrissy and Mitch and be like, by the way, I heard these two aren't getting along like they think they are, but after the last tribal council, blah, 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 we could keep all of us safe if we just vote one of them out. Like, let's just pick one and make a 4. I think that's what she has to try to do. And even though, because she has no vote, it's like she needs to make it a 3-1.
Yeah. It's such an interesting predicament. Yeah. And look, I totally get what you're saying. Like, it's like, hard for the players and unfair. I know that you're like having a balloon party.
Balloons again. All
that,
I'm doing is stressfully resting my hand on my temple for Bianca. I'm
yeah.
like, man, what? Because the other thing for Bianca is like, what if you don't go to tribal? You want to keep all these people happy with you. So you can't start doing this until you're actually in the hot seat. So doing it too early could
It
also
is truly
backfire.
a predicament for her. And,
Tough
in talking it through, like, I think that there's some benefit for her, hypothetically, if she could get it to a 2-2 tie at tribal council. Because
what does she do then, though?
Well, I think that she doesn't get a vote, but if the 2-2 tie isn't on her, then they on the tiebreak vote, right? She's not able to be voted for. They have to vote for the people that were in the tie.
In the tie.
If it comes down to a standoff, okay, she could end up drawing rocks and not having any say in going to a rock draw
only
potentially.
Risk. Yeah.
But she could, like, I think that somebody would flip before it got to a rock draw. If in
and
a
she
2-2
might be able
scenario.
to think that because she would think that Cedric or one of them would flip on each other because why would they?
The problem with the situation that she's in is that she seems to be, from what we've seen, closest to say. And Cedric, it seems like, has already gravitated towards Mitch. So it seems like that there's already some kind of like 3-1 3-person consensus with Chrissy, Mitch, and Cedric saying like, hey, let's just vote out Bianca.
Yeah, that's why she's got to stoke the fire.
She's got to do something to change up her
that's
situation.
risky. I kind of forgot about Cedric and Mitch's bond. I like the two. If she can force a 2-2 tie, that would be fun.
That would be very exciting. Would you come around on players losing their vote if Bianca was able to navigate a 2-2 tie to her advantage?
Maybe a little. But I'm like, how many times do you actually get that outcome? Once. It's like it is like a tribe swap a little bit. Like, it's risky on production. You know what I mean? It's like you could get a great tribe swap like this one where it's so mixed up. It's like almost ideally mixed. Or you get a boring one where your whole tribe plus one person is on the tribe.
Now,
like
I will say that I will feel it will be more unfair that Justin lost his vote than Bianca. And stop me if I'm wrong. I believe her tribe picked who went on the journey.
You are correct.
So she had she could say like, hey, I do not send me on the journey.
That's a very good point. And I very much sympathize with Justin because I also got sent on a journey I didn't want to go on.
Yes.
And
what happened on when you went on the journey?
I sat out the challenge and I was mad about it.
Yeah.
And then Reba used as an excuse to send me. Sifu.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. The sandwich, the three-way shared idol advantage. Yes.
That's what happened. But I didn't want to go on that. But I would have never gone on a journey. I literally bowed out of every journey. Like, who wants to go on the journey? I was always like, not me. Have fun. So same. I don't know. I don't think Justin maybe would have gone either. So that sucks. I didn't listen to his exit press though. So. Poor Cedric. That was crazy.
So Justin did not want to go on the journey. What, you had something to say about last week's tribal council?
I mean, what the hell, guys, is really what I have to say. I don't know. The rules are getting I got to go watch Dwight's thing. That they're getting crazy for me. But you know what I was thinking? I feel a little, Mary's moment is so great. But like when Caleb's shot in the dark hit, we were kind of lit. It was the whole group. Everyone was like, no way. Like, it was crazy. It was like a Renaissance painting. Yeah. And Mary's is like, it's smaller. And they're all kind of like, shit, we're screwed. Like, I wish she's kind of like alone celebrating, which is like kind of sad. But she had America celebrating with her.
She had so many people celebrating.
She didn't know it yet. But
Mary's
missionaries.
Is Survivor 48 some kind of weird echo of Survivor 45? I mean, we have the shot in the darks hitting. We have the tribe swap. Are there any other similarities between your season and this one?
Yeah, you have the disaster
tribe.
With an entertaining, girl rising from the ashes, the Emily flipping. Let's think. You know what? If Thomas had a big reaction going out, then we could have signed, seal, deliver. If Thomas would have quit the game, Yeah, we need 2 more quits.
That could have been something. But I do wonder maybe that do you feel like that if 45 is going to sort of like echo with 48, do you feel like that 4-person alliance is coming together? Is that Siva? Are we on a
I
trajectory
said
of
that.
like
That's the Reba 4. This is the prophecy.
the
They're not on the
prophecy?
wrong beach, though. This isn't Siva on the Lulu beach. Yeah, so that's not the right beach.
So if we were going to map the tribes then, so Siva, you think could be like the Reba tribe where there's sort of like 2 people that are kind of like on the outs of like the greater 4-person alliance that's actually
Yeah, and honestly, and
pretty
they're ready to
tight.
throw Charity right under the bus,
Yeah.
like, clearly, which is like which they did with J Maya and arguably Sifu a little bit too,
Yeah.
which I
Okay.
do think was a good strategic play. Yeah, that's another similarity.
And then
And
Bello is
Loggy is Bello.
Loggy.
Wins a lot, but is completely dysfunctional. I mean, I don't think they're
Mm-hmm.
quite as dysfunctional as we are.
Yeah. Yeah, but they
We're
have sort
not
of like
great.
Star and Eva as sort of like the Bruce and Katora, like the
I
2
guess
people that are
so.
not getting
Yeah.
along.
You know what? I will say that was
Get
similar
swapped to a tribe with each other and are still like, hey.
That's what happened when we got swapped. The first thing Bruce said to me was like, "I want to work with Caleb and get out
Mhm.
Katora." And Katora was like, "I want to work with Caleb and get out Bruce." I was like, "Oh, really?" So that is very similar vibe, actually. That's interesting. Maybe we figured it out.
Maybe.
So who wins then? Who's the D?
Who's the D in the Siva 4? Like, could we see that maybe
Kamilla.
like yeah, I mean, who is it? It's Kamilla, it's Kyle,
Kyle.
it's David, and then Chrissy.
Yeah.
So
The duos are a little different, you know. It's like
it's definitely like a different mapping of the 4.
yeah.
It's
But
not
it
a
can
one.
maybe be
Yeah.
different. Like I feel like the loyalty ran so deep with Julie and D and also Austin and D that I don't know if they're gonna have that same level. They're all very I don't know. I think Camilla's pretty gamery. She might turn on Kyle at some point. Not early, but
But she wants to win.
She wants to win, as she should.
Yeah. I think she's so impressive. I really think that
I'm pretty obsessed. That was incredible.
I think she's so good, and that she really has been able to do what I think like a lot of times like that people like in her archetype, like I think are sort of just like presented as like, oh, they're just flying under the radar. She might be flying under the radar, but she's doing so much. Like it's not that she's just like that people are just forgetting about her and that's how she's advancing in the game. Then you look up, it's like, oh, they never thought to get rid of her. She's actually playing really hard.
Yeah, I think the big thing will be, is she still that under the radar after this? The one good thing is that on paper, she can try to sell it like this is Kyle. Kyle played the extra vote. Kyle played the idol. Really, that was both of them, and it was a lot of her. And a lot of her like work, not only in that day of the tribal, but the day before and pre. You know what I mean? Like she's been cooking. That's been simmering for a long time. So I think people might come onto her a little bit. If they don't, then I mean, watch out. She's just gonna rock it all the way through.
Kelly, I want to bring in some questions from the listeners, okay? And Amy Cook wants to know, are you pro or con looking in somebody's bag? Did you ever
I
look
never
in a
did.
bag? Yeah.
I wasn't, but like honestly, I was like, if someone on Bello had the idol, I would have known. And then Bruce told me right away. I probably should have thought about that. Here's the thing. I'm pro doing whatever it takes to win. So if it's within the confines of the game and you feel like you need to do it. My gripe with this one, honestly, was doing it in front of Kamilla.
Yeah.
I was like, you're just showing her 100% that you're probably going to vote for Kyle. Which I guess they're feeling like Joaquin just really bought Camilla's like, I'm on the bottom, I'm not with Kyle thing, because you have to think about like, then that allows them to, even if it's a shot in the dark, which is still in play, then Kyle could theoretically at least play his shot in the dark, which could hit, you know what I mean? So that was my problem with the bag search more than the bag search inherently.
Yeah.
Do a better job.
such a weird red line for people. Like it gives people the survivor ick if somebody went through the bag. People have very strong feelings about this. That I do think it's just such a funny thing.
Yeah, I mean, there's one thing where it's like it's with advantages. It's like, oh, even if you find the idol with somebody else, like if it's yours, it's yours. You know, there's kind of these rules that help structure so that you can use them. And this feels like a little like maybe we're towing the line a little bit, where it's like, is your property supposed to be like sacred? Because otherwise, you just have to keep it on your person at all times, which is or bury it somewhere else.
Yeah,
I guess is the other solution.
should
Yeah,
Jeff
I don't know.
have gloves to handle some of these idols and advantages that have been like in all sorts of different like crevices and parts of people's like disgusting bodies for 20 days?
Yeah, you know
As
what?
as a practicing healthcare professional, like, is there any
Okay.
danger to Jeff of like this has been like in somebody's crack for 18 days and now he's handling it at tribal council?
If it's been in someone's crack, yes, maybe some danger because you don't want to touch your eye. You know,
Yeah.
you
Do you
don't
think
want
that
to.
Jeff should have like some Purell at his
Maybe
station
some
for?
Purell. I don't think he needs gloves, but like the only risk would be transferring bacteria from the hand
What about
into an.
tongs? Should Jeff like place the idol like into my tongs and then he'll like hold it up and look at it? Okay, this
That's
is
very fun. You know
good.
how like remember when Sabaya burned her idol? He could just
Yeah.
like sanitize all the idols had to be flame resistant, and then you sanitize them by burning them. I don't know. Listen, I think
He would
Fiji,
lose his
though, they're in
everyman
Fiji because
status.
it's the bacteria is not very risky.
Oh,
That's
okay,
like
that's
partially
good.
why. Yeah, I obviously love. Dr. Joe is like my hero. I think he's so cool. So whenever I would meet with him in the medical tent, I would take time to ask him questions because I was not having my medical problems as we established. And he did say like this is like a much safer bacterial situation than, for example, like
Go wrong.
Micronesia has a real co-wrong was the heat and bacteria, but Micronesia has like all these really aggressive bacteria. So like
Wow.
James's injury, it's very easy to have like a small cut get really infected, which is such an
Penner's
unfortunate way to
knee.
go out.
Yeah.
Exactly. More than one person. Like that's something's going on there. So this is like, Jeff probably, unless Jeff is like handling the idol and then fingers right in the mouth, he's probably okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Good question.
So, all right. Let me ask a question about Survivor Neurotic. Says, what 3 players do you think are best set up to do well at the merge right now?
Okay, well, I think there's 2 categories of being set up well. Being set up to win the game and being set up to not get voted out, right? So I think like when I'm thinking about people who are really safe, like Chrissy comes to mind. Like I don't know if anyone is going to be gunning for her. Like Mitch, I think comes to mind. I don't think anyone's really going to be gunning for him, although he has been killing it in the challenges, so you never know. But then I think in terms of like winning, like winners, like who's going to be like the power players, I feel like next week will be a big one. I would love to see Mary like take some charge there if they go to tribal council, and then she could become this like middle power player between the 2 tribes. I think that's great. If Kyle and Kamilla can keep the threat stink off of them, I think they're the strongest strategic duo in the game. So I'm hopeful for them.
Yeah.
Who else?
How about this
I think
at the merge? That do you feel like that, let's say Cedric, Say, and Mary survive this. Do you think that they move as a block of 3 in the post-merge game, or do you think that they maybe end up going their separate ways?
I would say if they move as a block of 3, it will be for like solely the first thing. Like they just want to get through the mergatory. I think there's a bit of a, maybe not. I think there could be a bit of a gameplay change after the jury starts.
Yeah.
Because there's like this, everyone wants to make the jury, blah, blah, blah. You might start playing a little more risky after that because you're like, well, at least I'm still here. So I think there could be there's definitely a fear around mergatory, which obviously has changed and seems to be less risky post season 47 because not everybody, half the tribe isn't safe, blah, blah, blah. But either way, some BS is going to go down, So I think that they might be like hedging their bets for a sec, and then I just don't see it. I think Mary and Say have a better chance of working together than Cedric
I think
and
so
either
too.
of them.
I'm just trying
So
to think of like the little like bases of power in the game. We've talked about like the Siva 4, okay, and
mhm,
so there's that 4, and I don't know necessarily like who is coming along with them. Maybe Mary might be the one person that David
maybe
is connected
swap
to
tribes. Yeah, it
that
could
could
be
come with
Mary.
them. But then there's like Mitch and Charity, who were kind of their own thing. But Cedric is a little bit now kind of maybe folded into that. And then you have the remnants of Loggy,
Loggy.
of, Joe and Shaheen, and they're going to bring back Eva.
Eva.
Bianca is kind of like Thomas was the connective tissue to
Hmm.
Bianca. So if she gets through it, like where's she going? So I feel like there's kind of like three different pockets that we could be talking about going into the merge.
Yeah, I'm looking at the swap tribes now. That is hmm. But I think honestly, like the person and whatever I've talked about this before is like it's a very smart move to have someone from your original group or your alliance that you're just like willing to like totally screw over at the
Hmm.
merge. So I think that's good. I guess Loggy's is star,
Yeah.
but if she finds the idol or there's concern about her finding the idol, they might be less willing to do that. I feel like Charity, maybe that's a good one for them to throw under the bus. And Mary, they can throw Cedric under the bus. Like maybe when Mariah went home in
Yeah.
46, like they didn't throw her under the bus quick enough, which is funny. We were just saying Eva was doing it too fast, but like I could see maybe Loggy like holding that closer. And it seems like, I mean, at least from David, they're just like screw Charity, goodbye.
Yeah. It's really always been the person who is just like one tribe just says, okay, this person, we'll give
Expendable,
up this person.
which stinks. Sorry,
Hmm.
sorry, girl. Um, Sorry to the people who I'm calling expendable.
Yeah.
Change your luck. You never
Okay.
know. The swap could change it. Interesting.
Okay.
What was the original question? I don't remember.
We were talking about who's set up well at
Set
the
up well.
merge. Yeah. Kelly, I'd love to hear about. I know you recently visited the Mohegan Sun, that there was a
Oh
big
yeah.
Survivor casting call. I've never been
Hmm.
to one thing like that. What goes on at a Survivor casting call?
Okay, it was very fun. I admittedly exhausting. I'm not gonna lie. We got there and the line was huge. This thing started at 2 o'clock. It's basically set up like there's like a stage with a bunch of little camera nooks.
Hmm.
And everyone can like sign in. You get 1 minute, I think, basically strictly to go up there, talk
What
your
happens
stuff.
after a minute? Camera turns off.
Camera turns off and says, "Good luck, see you later." I mean, from what I was gathering, they were being pretty like with it. I mean, it was a lot of people.
Yeah.
There were people who got there at 2 o'clock, which was the start of the event, who did not make it into audition. This was the biggest
Wow.
turnout they've ever had. So hopefully they'll do more. There's clearly a demand. But I had a lot of
Yeah.
fun.
Kelly, so what's your role in this? So you're at the casting call, everybody's there. Are you like hyping people up? Are you giving them advice?
Yes. So we did like when we got there, we did a little advice speech, both about the game and getting on the show. And then we kind of just worked the line. Me, Brandon, and Jake kind of split up and we would just walk through and chat with people, give them advice, both on in-person stuff and their videos. If they were also maybe wanting to do videos, took some pics. There was
Hmm.
a lot of fans in line with cool stuff. There's one girl who made like a custom, like the lock pull box that was like
Hmm.
extremely good.
Yeah.
A lot of funny signs,
Now,
we had
did you tell anybody at the casting call that they literally could have just stayed home and just done the same thing with their phone and just uploaded it on the CBS website?
when people started to get turned away, I was like, well, it's probably better to do the video
Yeah.
because you get
Do you,
3 minutes.
I mean, do you know what the track record is of people who go to like open calls
Yeah.
versus that? Because I feel like and maybe they haven't had them too much with like the COVID era. And so I
I
don't know
don't think
too many
Mohegan hasn't
people.
done it since 2022.
Okay. But I don't know too many people, certainly in the new era, who have come
Mhm.
through casting calls. Do you?
I did ask my resident, on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, phone a friend, Brandon Donlin, this question before we went.
Yeah.
And he said, I think someone could correct me if I'm wrong. I think Cassidy was initially discovered at an event. I
Okay.
think she did go through different rounds. Um, Denise, the lunch lady.
Lunch lady Denise. Yeah.
Denise and Sebastian, I think. Which I'm
Seabass.
also Seabass. That
Yeah.
was the 3 that Brandon was thinking.
Okay.
What I would tell people is like, if you are like bad on camera and you think you just pop in person, then maybe this is like, or like you don't want to do like a script,
Right.
and it's awkward to talk to somebody, then maybe this is the
I know from back in the
you.
day, there were more people like Colleen Haskell, like went to like an open call when nobody knew what Survivor was and things like that. So I don't know how much, if there's like a better track record, or you're more likely to get on the show if you go to one of these things.
Yeah, I feel like statistically, there's probably more people applying online. But I would think, for me, I was like, 1 minute is so short to like get across everything you want to say. I feel like the person who gets cast from these casting calls is someone who's like dynamite, lightning in a bottle, like a Q or Emily, like someone who just, if they just stood there and talked about their experience that day at Mohegan Sun for a minute, you'd be like, sign me up. And there were people in line that I was like, what you just said to me was literally hilarious, because they were just talking with me about their experience. I was like, just do that. Don't even like just riff. So maybe, I'm hoping maybe, someone good came from that. I had a few people I thought were good.
Was there anybody that you talked to that you're like, there's no chance in your head?
Don't make me say that, Rob.
But that maybe, I don't know if there was or not. Maybe it's like that. No, everybody was great.
I do think, yes. And
did you try to give any advice to that person that you felt like has no chance? Like, is there anything that you could say to try to get them to?
I'm not gonna kill anyone's dream. You know what I mean? But I typically will tell people my advice for videos, and I think you have more control over the video. And also, people are so nervous in this line. So I think there's a lot of people with a lot of nerves, which is just gonna make you less fun.
What'd you do in your video?
So my video was, and I actually give this advice a lot. Part of it was me in my car. Oops, I just dropped my headphone. Me in my car after work, like right after a shift.
Yeah.
And I just got in my car and started talking about why I think nurses would be good at Survivor, which I always endorse, like, get in your world. But the thing that helped me the most was, part of it was just me talking, sitting in my apartment. And my fiance, Gabby, was like behind the camera. And I started off first by just like talking. And then she started interacting with me. And I was like saying something like, oh, like, I have a competitiveness problem. And she's like, oh, yeah. And I'm like, yeah. And then it got me more natural. I think retrospectively, it feels like a Survivor confessional, because you're not just talking to, which people didn't realize in line. I'm telling them this. They think we're just like looking off into the abyss and talking about what we're thinking. It's like there is a producer there who's having a bit of a conversation with you. And so even like, I think Jesse Tannenbaum said to me, he was like, I haven't really seen a lot of people do that. And even though she was off screen, it worked, because it made you feel, it made us feel like we really know who you are in your life normally. And that made me more natural versus than just doing, monologuing.
Yeah. What else do they do at the casting call? Is there like other activities going on?
Gambling, drinking. Not really. It's really just a giant line. There was like a TV camera there, and they were like covering how many people were there and stuff like that, which was fun. They did some stuff. They brought people on, to talk about their experience and why they were applying and things like that. So you might get on the local Connecticut news if you go. Another, plug. That might be even harder than getting on Survivor, is being the one person picked from line to do that.
Yeah.
Bring something crazy. They told me that someone tried to bring a whole canoe in, but got denied.
Don't bring props. They don't like that. Don't be like Carrot Top. Yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
That's like, that would get you on Survivor in Survivor 1, Survivor 2. Everybody's video was like stupid and horrible, and they all did like Gilligan's Island
they don't really
parodies.
Like gimmicks anymore.
They don't like gimmicks anymore.
Yeah.
It's like you like to get on Survivor in like Survivor 2, you'd be like, hey, I'm naked. They're like, all right.
You know what I
when can you get to Los Angeles?
One thing I did like about it was basically, and this was funny because everyone thought they were being a little unique with it, but it was like all these different people were waiting in line for a gajillion hours together, and they're like, we're forming an alliance.
Listen, hey people, this is not Beast Games, okay? You don't make an alliance in the casting to get on the show.
We're both gonna get on. We're making an alliance.
We're doing it.
It was sweet. I feel like people finding, like I'm from Connecticut. I didn't know if there's any sort of like Survivor community in Connecticut.
Yeah.
Saul has had a watch party there, and so there's people who like are kind of finding each other through it, which is, some people
nice.
people flew from Texas and Maine, came up from DC. Someone drove 15 hours.
You can just go on the web. Jeff, every commercial is like literally, here's the website.
It's the community aspect of it. Not Bryson when it presents does not go to Maine. Okay, so maybe
I get it. But why they go to Texas? You don't have to fly from Texas to go to the open casting call.
That is true. Sam Moore's telling me we're going to Boston, so you don't need to drive.
You don't
down
have to
from
read
Boston.
what he says in the chat. That's fine.
Poor Sam. But you know what? That was nice. I liked the community aspect of it. I thought that was really
That's
sweet.
nice to get everybody together, make them feel like, what I always say about Survivor.
A lot of people watch Survivor in a vacuum, and people said they came to this because they heard it on the radio and they just showed up.
Look, I've built a whole business around this. I want to, connect people around the world around this thing. Like Survivor is the only show where, hey, your favorite show is George and Mandy's first marriage. You can't go to a party and hang out with George and Mandy and Sheldon and Meemaw.
What a crazy choice.
Yeah. You can't do that.
You go to George and Mandy
where's Leonard? But you like Survivor. You go to you're going to here. I'm hanging out with the cast.
That's so true. Rob, just clip this and, make it an ad. There you go. A passionate plea. You know what, though? I think if they did this more, they would find, everyone's sort of like, super fans, which, you were just saying you like them. But you could probably find some people who just show up, and it's so much work for them, I think. But you might find one or two really, really good people who just decided to walk into this casting call.
Right. Like, there were
kind of like Mike Turner's accidental video.
Well, I don't know. What's Mike Turner's accidental video?
Didn't he send in a really short video? And it was like an accident. He meant to attach something else, and it's just him talking for 30 seconds. Maybe this is wrong. I don't know. That's what I thought I heard. Okay, let me.
I had a great interaction with Mike Turner when we went to the Survivor premiere party. So there was this little room where there was a green room, and there was there was so many fun interactions.
We're talking about the screener.
Yeah, no, when we went to the premiere. Yeah. So there was this little they called it it was like a green room where all the survivors had their jacket, and thank God nobody had COVID that day, or it would have taken down the whole Survivor community.
That would have been
because we were in this very tiny room, but there was probably at points 25 different survivors in this tiny room.
That was cool.
And I was back there, and it was nothing. I was dying of thirst. We're drinking lukewarm Diet Cokes in this little tiny room, and I'm back there, and I see Mike Turner, and he's always talking to me about the Mets. Kelly, are you a baseball person at all?
I'm not a huge baseball person.
Okay,
but I am a Mets fan.
Oh, okay. Well, just like
baby.
Mike Turner, and Mike Turner is I'm a Mets fan. Mike Turner is really a Mets fan. He's going to every single game, and whenever I see him, he's always did you see what happened today? And he was he saw me, and he was mid conversation with Jam Jam and trying to be a nice guy. He's trying to as he wasn't talking to me about the Mets, but he wants to include Jam Jam in the conversation. Jam Jam could not be less interested in the free agent maneuverings of the Mets. But Mike Turner is trying so hard to keep Jam Jam engaged in the conversation. And Jam Jam is just totally trying to be polite, but could not care less. And Mike Turner's yeah, but they got Soto, and now they're bringing Alonso back. It's happening. They got all the you don't understand, Jam Jam. And he's
this is the greatest of Mike Turner, though. He can talk about something you hate, and you still think it's hilarious. He's great.
And it was just I was just dying of just watching Jam Jam having to act oh wow, it's just
I love this. I love the Mets.
It was so fun. I had there was this moment where Tony came through, and Tony was talking about his time on the Traders.
That was just great. I was there for that. That was really funny. He was cracking me up.
Were you there when he was holding court, and then he was meeting some of the people from the new era, and of course he met our beloved friend Brandon Donlin. And
great
then Brandon introduced himself to Tony, and Tony said, "Oh, okay, you're from the new era. Okay. Oh, did you kill it? Did you kill it?" He said to Brandon Donlin, and Yeah.
Brandon said something very funny back.
Yeah,
I
we
wish
were
I
sort
knew
of
what it was.
sheepishly like, and he said, "Well, I was like you, you know, we share
Oh yes, he made us
second
17th
out."
place joke. Yes,
And
yes,
he's like,
I love
okay, oh, good. He's like, you know, playing the long game.
Tony was very funny there. That was like, I feel like that was the most time I've ever been like in a room with someone who was on Survivor. And I was like, wow, exactly what you get on TV.
Yeah.
He is not, that is 100% real. Like,
And then
he's the one at
baby
open
Andy
casting
came
call who
through.
gets on.
Yeah,
Yes, that was cute.
Andy came in and he's like, hey, Tony, just want to meet you also. He's like, I
Tony's
just
like,
played
"Yeah, I
in
know you
Survivor
do. Come on."
47.
Yeah.
And Tony's like, okay, did you kill it? Did you kill it? And I'm like, you kind of killed it. You kind of killed it.
It was
Yeah.
cute. It was really a sweet
Mhm.
moment. That's why you cast the super fans. It was like
Tony was just, it was so fun. He was holding court.
I couldn't believe he was there. I was not expecting that. That was really fun.
I said, Tony, let me just grab you here real quick. Let me take a picture with you before you Irish goodbye this thing and take off. He's like, I'm so gonna do that. You're so right. I'm gonna just take off and
You just
leave.
want to keep doing your Tony impression as much as possible.
Well, look, I love
You're good
Tony.
at it.
I've only met Tony like maybe 2 or 3 times ever. So
Wow.
it was like that was probably the most time I ever spent with him was that day.
That's so funny. Oh my
Yeah.
gosh. That was
no, it's
cool.
just
I met Sari that day, which was great for me.
The whole thing was
waiting
so
for her.
surreal, just like in this room of like all these like different, you know, Survivor, you know, luminaries coming in and out. Like Sari was back there, like, you know, Q was back there, you know, just so many just people like in and out.
Cross-pollination. Yeah.
I hadn't met you know, or been around like so many survivors at one time in like not like a, you know, live show in forever.
Yeah. That's so
It was
cool.
crazy.
Oh.
And all these wonderful Survivor 48 people, if they're still listening,
I know,
were
that
there.
was so fun for them. Like
Mhm.
literally amazing.
Yeah.
All right, Rob, I want to bring something up.
Is it you got a bone to pick?
Gripe. And it's a random bone. It's a little bit of bone. What do you think about the call me Sam Phelan, because I'm not excited about this fruit platter. The reward. Every time they're like, "Oh, what are you gonna play for?" The fruit platter is I think it's a little bit of a letdown. Are you with me here? No one's having a Liz Wilcox meltdown for the fruit platter.
I don't even know if Liz Wilcox could eat the fruit. So
yeah, that's up for debate.
Yeah, it's such a throw in, you know, in the pre-merge, you know, they just have the one challenge. There's no reward challenges. So the reward is just kind of a throw in. And, you know, I don't know. I think they try to keep the rewards not that cool because
they gave us once, it was like a plate of raw fish that you could cook. And Jeff was like, the fish. And we were like, yay.
Yeah.
And he was like, do you remember you're starving? He was mad at our reaction.
Yeah. I asked if it was worth playing for, but in all seriousness, it's like, we're never even going to see this on television. So maybe they're like, hey, look, don't even waste any money on a reward because we're going to go back with the tribe that loses the challenge. Like, go to the farmer's market, spend $30 on the reward. That's it. Don't waste any more money on this.
I guess. Are we really in that bad of a situation, guys?
I don't know if it's like, hey, you're going to get like this amazing,
something more like novelty. Like if they don't want to like feed us, well, like give us something
do you want?
Like stupid.
Well, what would be
remember when Cody on season 43 like drank too much coffee and ate too much chocolate? Like that was funny.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's later on, but I feel like something like that. I don't know. Like something that's not actually that nourishing, but is just like a fun little moment and could lead to something funny.
Now, did you get the fruit on Survivor?
No, we actually lost that challenge.
Yeah.
And then, but I did get the fish.
Mm-hmm.
But I got like the smaller fish because we came in second, I think.
Yeah.
No, we came in second. So we got like the smaller fish. I had come back from the journey, so it was cold by the time I got back. And you have to like gut it and everything. It was like a ton of work.
A lot of work. We had in Survivor the Amazon that we lost a reward challenge, and it was the reward we were playing for like fruits and like some spices, and we lost the reward. It was just like the biggest like,
I mean, the spices though, you can get creative with the spices. I'll never forget this. We had papayas at the Lulu Beach, and we brought them to the Merge Beach, and they had like spices from their fish reward because they won the bigger one, and they had like pepper. This is gonna sound disgusting, but like Dee was like, let's put pepper on the papaya. and we did it. And it tasted good.
Hey,
We were
any
like, it's
port in a
steak.
storm.
It's steak. Well, I was getting sick of only thing I'd eaten for like a few
It's
days.
steak.
That's what Dee would say.
Okay.
I didn't say that. She even came up with that. So
Well, I guess you could really, theater of the mind at that point.
yeah, any new flavor really besides
Mhm.
coconut is a welcome addition, I would say.
Yeah. Okay. That's not a bad take. Fruit
Not a
is,
bad take.
not such a bad reward, or is it not a great reward?
It's a bad reward.
Yeah, it is a bad reward. Yeah.
I think they're just trying to keep us as starvation level as possible, and fruit is just gonna like whoosh.
Mm-hmm.
It's like watermelon, like that's 90% water.
Mm-hmm.
Don't show David.
He hates water. Do you think we'll see David drinking chocolate milk at any point this season?
Oh my God, you have to hope they put it at like the merge feast or something for him.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna get like, remember Teeny was like wine drunk a little? David's gonna drink too much chocolate milk and spill the beans.
Big, like walk around like Mike White with a giant tumbler of chocolate milk.
With his new custom Stanley.
Big Stanley. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Perfect.
All right. Question from B. What are your feelings on disaster tribes and then the subsequent necessity of tribe swaps to even the numbers again?
Necessity? Maybe we already debated this. I think it's funny. Like you really wonder if it seems like you got to know these tribes are going to lose. I don't know if you saw Stephanie Berger tweeted her pregame journal being like, oh, I'm on the disaster tribe. And when we saw Lulu, we were like, how are Austin and Sifu on the same tribe? And then that's yellow. I was also like in my head trying to like always divide up where the girls would go and stuff. And I never thought that Hannah and Emily would be on the same tribe. I was like, this doesn't. So they had to know that was not going to go.
See, I've never thought that they do it on purpose. Do you think that this is what they want? I mean, I kind of feel like that they feel like that they don't try to do it, but if it happens, I think they're like, all right.
I don't know.
We got one.
I really have a hard time believing ours. I don't know. We had Jake and Bruce and like Austin and Sifu. I know that Austin was the alternate, but the other guy he took out was a big dude as well. So like it was not a fair. I was like, I mean, this is not fair.
Yeah.
It really,
because in 46, the disaster tribe.
I wasn't going to guess that they were going to be the disaster.
I thought they were going to be the dominant tribe in season 46. I'm trying to think in 47. Was there one tribe that was
there
kind
wasn't
of
really
like,
they all went many times.
Yeah. Was there one tribe that you looked at that was kind of looked like that they might have been sort of like outgunned? I don't know. So I don't think they do it on purpose because I think that there would be like every season it would be obvious.
I think maybe like that they make tribes specifically for conflict, which maybe happened on this Vula tribe. Like they were like, okay, these people are going to butt heads. Stephanie's not going to, that kind of thing. And then that conflict can create disaster tribes. Like if it hits too hard. The other theory I saw online was that people think, like, I think Jelinski was talking about this, that Yanu's on the same beach as Vula, which is also the Bello beach, which is the least food beach. So maybe everyone's just really hangry. And that's where it all.
So Thomas told me that beach is also a wind tunnel. What do you think of that?
I honestly felt Lulu was more windy than Bello, which is the Siva beach. Because it's like the camp is right on the water. So it was like really, you're very exposed to the elements where Bello, maybe they set their shelter was rough. So Emily Flippen was like, this is the worst shelter ever in one of our previews. Like, nope, that I think wins the cake. So maybe they just had like.
Wins the cake.
Shelter. Yeah, wins the cake.
Better than wins the fruit, right?
Exactly. Yeah, give us cake. Let them eat cake, Jeff.
Give them a cake. Come on.
That would be funny. Sorry for you on the smaller cake.
Yeah, right. In icing, that's what it says.
Yeah.
Yeah. Almost worth playing for.
Yep.
Okay. Kelly, you posted recently on Blue Sky that you got recognized in Central Park walking around in the top you wore in your Survivor cast photo, and you feel mortified because the person recognized the shirt.
Yeah, that was an embarrassing moment.
Why? Why was it embarrassing? Because it's like, oh, is this the only shirt you have?
It's like, first of all, they've probably only seen that photo of me, and here I am again.
It was like the episode of Seinfeld where the woman Jerry was dating always wore the same outfit.
I haven't seen a lot of Seinfelds.
That's okay.
Yeah,
but some of the listeners did.
And I just felt it was like, oh, does it look like I just like can't let go? Like I just love my I hate my cast photo. I literally hate it. But that's a good workout top. Okay. And I was like, on like a
But
walk.
the person
So,
clocked you and they said, "Hey, Kellie, are you wearing the same shirt as in your cast photo?" Or
and that's
you
the same
knew?
shirt. No. They said they first
Okay.
they just recognized me, and we
Now, first
were
off, that
like,
person is
hey,
probably listening to this podcast.
that's a fair assessment.
That's fair. So
Where
shout
are
out to
you?
this person.
She was very nice.
Hmm.
I also talked about this top on Social Game too, not to shout it out again, but Michelle, or actually no, it might have been the live we did for you guys. Michelle recognized it, and apparently Lauren O'Connell also wore that actually in game. It's a Free People workout top.
Yeah. Okay.
Highly recommend, but now I'm like afraid to wear it.
But you don't like your cast photo?
I hate my cast photo.
Did you like your cast photo better from 43?
I never saw it.
Did you like the outfit you were wearing better that time?
I was wearing a green dress.
Okay.
But I was really emotional at the photo shoot because that was when everyone started to figure out that I was the alternate. So I wasn't in the best mood. So I'm sure my facial expression wasn't great. The
As the
problem with my
alternate,
current cast photo. Sorry, say it again.
I was going to say, I'm sorry to interrupt. But as the alternate, do they tell you what clothes color to bring, or are you bringing multiple colors?
So the photo shoot you can basically do. You have to get it approved, but you do whatever you want. But yeah, so you have to prepare for all three tribes. So I had wardrobe prepared in all colors. My pants were like more versatile. Like they were like just like a tan. I like a tan cargo type pant thing that were joggers, and then I had these little like safari-esque shorts, and then I would just swap the top. Was the plan. My blue shirt that I ended up wearing was my blue tribe shirt. Like they were really committed to me being in like tees like this, like ringer tees. I wore this Los Angeles shirt for Thomas and his California.
For the California girls. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then what were we saying about your cast photo?
Okay. And the problem with my cast photo was I went first and it was so windy and my hair is blowing back. So I just don't like how I look I feel like I look better with my hair like in front of my face. And I kept
want
telling
like
the
a
guy,
big fan blowing your hair when you do a photo shoot.
I didn't like it. I don't know. I knew I wasn't going to like it. It was a bummer.
Did Bryce like it?
I forget. I think I had my thumb out. I remember I texted him or I DM'd him when I got back and I was like, listen, I can see my thumb. Like I was thinking about it. And the photographer was telling me to put my thumb here and I didn't want to do it, but I did it. So just don't judge me. He appreciated it.
And what did the fans say? Are you wearing the same shirt that you wore in your cast photo?
Yeah. They said, oh, this is the same shirt. I was like, yeah. How do you know that? And I said, this is really embarrassing. I think was the first thing I said. And they were like, no, it's not. I was like, but it's a good workout shirt. I don't want to waste it. And that was the extent of the interaction.
But you were like, but I don't wear it every day.
I don't even know if I said, I hope I said. And then I was just like, this is a mortifying experience.
Do you think that person was just like, hey, I just ran into Kellie Nalbandian. Can you believe she's wearing the same shirt she wore on Survivor?
What a loser. Oh, God. I'm so glad this is now immortalized. You know what? I put that on Blue Sky for a reason, Rob, because I didn't think anyone read Blue Sky. That's my safe space.
Yeah.
And it's been compromised.
Sorry. Our staff they do an extensive pre-interview.
God. Yeah. Right. Well, I appreciate the thoroughness.
All right. So, Kellie, I'll tell you something that I thought about doing. I didn't end up doing. I recently I went to South by Southwest and I was considering wearing a buff at South by Southwest because I was mostly there by myself. And I thought that, okay, at least I'm worried, okay, well, maybe people are going to think I'm a loser, but I think I'll take that risk because I feel like if somebody is a Survivor fan, okay, they're going to find me if I'm wearing a buff and come talk to me about Survivor. And at least I have an opportunity to talk about Survivor and what I do for work.
Your company.
What do you think about that? Does that make me a loser if I go into a new city or a conference and I wear a buff?
Because you have a Survivor themed business and you're kind of promoting the business, a little bit of the cringe is removed from that.
But only a little.
Yeah, I think it would be worse if it was like your season's buff. Like your buff.
Yeah.
I
think it was actually your season's buff.
Oh, well, then you should have worn it.
Was the merge orange? Is that right? Yes. That's what I had.
The merge tribe you can't remember the name of?
Yes. The Waka Waka.
Hey.
Yeah.
Little Shakira.
So, I didn't end up doing it. Because honestly, the party I was going to go, I didn't even get in the party I was trying to go to.
maybe if you wore the buff.
Oh, maybe
Bianca
the
could have
door
been a
person would have been like,
Survivor fan.
get this guy in here. Kelly, are you a big March Madness person?
Okay. My dad went to UNC. Shout out North
Oh,
Carolina. Yeah, go Tar Heels.
he's a Tar
He's a
Heel.
Tar Heel. So college basketball has been a part of my life forever, and my family's a big sports family. So I'm not currently like, I don't watch college basketball beforehand, but I love sports. So I always have a bracket, and I play against my dad's league, and I've been doing great the last few years. Let me tell you, there's
Nice.
strategy to the March Madness
Kelly, I
bracket.
wish I was into it. I wish I liked it.
Really? Oh, it's
Yeah.
fun. I mean, it's like I don't bet that much money, but last year I won. But it's because you have to play like who's in your bracket. This is how you gamify March Madness in an annoying way.
Now you tell us. Too bad you couldn't be on the podcast yesterday.
True, but it's more about who you're playing against than the actual picks. So like all my dad's friends who I'm playing with went to UNC, so they hate Duke. So every year
We hate Duke.
My main strategy is to pick Duke to win. And then if I do that and they win,
Right.
everybody else's points go down and I go up. So that's my strategy.
Yeah.
Last year I won. I'm on a hot streak. Before I started this podcast, I was in first place shared with 6 people because I picked Creighton correctly.
Creighton.
Yep, Creighton over, I forget. It was like an 8-9 matchup, so I picked the underdog, which I like to do. Last year also I picked Yale because I went to Yale, and they actually won the first round. So I did it again. So let's go Bulldogs.
Okay. All right. Doing better than Justin from Yale did.
Oh. In the March Madness or in the game?
In the game.
You know what? We don't have the best track record. Also, Daniel Strunk.
Yeah.
Any other?
Steven was gloating. It was Steven Fishback famously, but he says that he wants to do better than everybody else from Yale.
Wait, Steven went to Yale?
Yes.
Oh my God, I didn't know.
You didn't know that's such a big part of his identity.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's exciting. He probably went to real Yale. I did grad school at Yale. So I feel like it's a little like asterisk there. But wow, okay, so he's the best performing Yale grad.
I'm not sure if Yule was also through. Again, that there's people that really track the Ivy League Survivor players very closely, and so I don't want to speak out of my state school ass here. But
where did you go, Rob?
I went to they call it the Oswego State University. State University of New York. Yes, at Oswego.
Abby, my fiance went to Binghamton. The Ivy of New York, one would say.
Yes. Binghamton.
That's where I thought you were going. I was about to get really excited, but
yeah, both. We're upstate New York schools.
Gotta love it.
Yeah. Okay.
You're making me want to check my bracket right now.
Okay. Hey, we're almost there. You can check all the brackets. Kelly, I know you're getting married this year.
I am in October.
October. Okay. Are you ready?
You know what? I could be more. I'm ready emotionally and spiritually. The planning is an aggressive task. It's a lot of work. I did just do my first dress, like picking out fitting yesterday, which was very fun.
Yeah. And
I'm like chatting with my lady, the bridal lady, who's like showing me.
Not your old lady.
Who's my old lady?
That's like what you say for your when you're married, you call your wife your old lady.
Do you do that?
I've never but I've heard
probably
it done.
For the best. Probably for the best. I would recommend you.
Well, you said I called my lady. I didn't know if you were talking about your fiance or
say lady. And my mom hates it. She's like, "Why are you calling me a lady?" I don't know. So it's kind of a running joke in my family now.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I'm talking to her, and I have my friend there. I have my mom there. Me. We have some differing opinions. Everyone's supportive and thrilled, but my mom wanted a little bit of a different vibe than me. And I'm going back and forth with this woman, and I'm like, she must deal with so many weird dynamics.
Yeah.
We've never had a bridal gown saleswoman on Survivor.
I believe that's what Kim Spradlin used to do.
Wait, really?
I believe that was the case.
Well, then my theory is totally great. Because I was like, this is the best prep you could ever do, because there was like a really uncomfortable situation going on
Yeah.
next to me.
Can we confirm
So-
that's Kim Spradlin used to work in I think
I
was
know of her
also
as, like, a home
divorced. I
designer.
think also.
I know of her as like she's like isn't she like interior decorator?
Now
and
she does
stuff now?
interior design. Yeah.
Are we right?
So-
She owned a bridal shop, so I guess is the text I got from Brandon.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Okay.
So that confirms my theory that this is
It's
an
a tense
amazing
situation. You got to
training
deal with a
ground.
lot of stuff.
You know, I feel like you get like, you know, the mother of the bride or like in-laws, like the whole and the different like dynamics there.
Yeah.
She's like making side alliances with everybody.
Kelly, can I ask you a question about your wedding prep?
Yes, please.
Okay. Does Gabby, your fiance, go with you to go to the bridal shop to buy the gown? Or is there a superstition of, hey, you can't see your bride in the wedding dress before the wedding?
Well, that's the traditional thing, right? And what I love about being in a queer relationship is you can kind of define the rules for yourself if you want.
Yeah.
We did want to be surprised by each other. So we have not seen it. I will say, since we're both wearing white dresses,
Okay.
there was a vague discussion of vibes so that we're not getting the same dress or too similar. And one of my
Did you go to the
bridesmaids,
same store? Did you get a discount for 2
we
for
should have.
1?
No, I mean,
Oh, Kelly,
bought
you
her
got to
dress and I
negotiate that.
haven't bought my dress yet. Okay. I'm
Okay.
ready to say yes, but I like to sample it around a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm feeling pretty good. I think I'm going to do it next week, but you're right. I should have done that. But yeah, we were like, you know, make sure we're not going to get the same dress. Like
You can't
or
wait.
seem too similar. You know, I don't want to be like looking like twins. Ugh,
Yeah.
you know.
But I think that the for the bridal shop, I mean, that's, you got to say, you got a lot of leverage there of like, hey, you're getting 2 dresses here on this transaction.
For one wedding.
For
we
one
weren't there
wedding.
together. We were there different days.
Can I at least like get like, buy one, get 50% off the other?
And I went to Kleinfeld's, which is like, you know, huge. So I don't feel like they don't need, you know, they're not motivated to give me a discount. They don't need me. You know what I mean?
You're an influencer.
Yeah. You know what? I've swung that around a little bit for the wedding and it's gotten me a few good things. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But this was not one of them. So.
Okay. All right.
I'll try. Well, you know what? Maybe where I'm going to bride, I feel like I don't like saying that and trying to get any sort of, I feel like such a douche. So I can't
That's why
really
you
do
need
it.
a hype person.
Okay. Who do you think I should bring?
Well, maybe it could be, would Gabby do it? Say like, hey, you know, my fiance is an influencer.
That's who's done it. She's done that for like,
Mm-hmm.
like we got a little discount on our photo booth, stuff like that. That was from her because I can't. But like she's not coming with me to the bridal shop.
That's true. Brandon Donlin can't do that?
You know what? If any straight man is going to make it into a bridal shop purchasing event, it's going to be Brandon.
I feel like that's not his skill set.
No, but supporting, you know?
Mm-hmm.
He's like the ultimate ally, right?
Yes.
So maybe.
Yes. Is he going to be in your wedding party?
I mean, oh, geez. I mean, I'm not planning on it.
Will there be a best man? Is the best man totally out, or is there a best man involved?
We don't really have, I'm not doing a best man. We might, we're getting into a hairy thing here, Rob. I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I think, you know, some of our families.
Because I feel like there's a lot of maid of honor in the gay wedding. In 2 men getting married.
I'm not besting anybody. Like everyone's equal.
Yeah. Okay.
You know what I mean?
Well, good luck with all the planning.
Brandon says that's literally my skill set. So he's mad
What's
at
literally his skill set? Being the best man? He'd
No,
give
I
a
think
great
bridal
toast.
shop assistants.
Bridal shop assistant? I don't know about that. We'll see. He can get good deals on things.
I don't know. We'll put him to the test. That could be fun. Like undercover boss or whatever. Just like put a wire on Brandon and see if he could get like a better deal.
Okay. All right. Let me go back to Survivor real quick before I get complaints in the comments. Okay. Michael O'Brien says, can Kelly talk about some of the issues that Shaheen or any other alternate have to deal with once they hit the beach for real? Is there any advantage of the well? He was obviously an alternate, so we should just target him now, or he's already been here and has unfair advantage. Now, you didn't tell anybody you were an alternate, right? That would have been
of course not.
A horrible move.
I saw this question and I was like, why would I ever say that? So nobody knows. And I made sure that like when I was at pregame,
But what about, could you go to Bruce and be like, Bruce, I've
can
been
I
to
tell
Fiji
you,
before also.
I almost did that. It did cross my mind early days, but then I realized I didn't need to. Like he
Mhm.
already liked me. I was like, if I
Yeah.
need to build a bridge with him, I'll throw that out there. I wasn't even going to tell him I was an alternate. My plan was just to say I made it really far in casting and they like cut me right at the last minute. So like I know what it's like and I want us to both whatever. Like that was going to be my pitch but then he approached me and I was like we were having the conversation. I was thinking about saying it and I was like, you know what? There's no need for me to say it. So I never told anybody until we were at Ponderosa. But I think Shaheen, different approach, right? Because he had a lot of fun with his
Yeah.
46 press. And so I think there was possibility that people maybe clocked that this guy was that dude.
Mhm.
Which, is maybe fine, maybe not. Like there's some people who might like feel guilty. Like that we would talk about, obviously we were thinking about cutting Bruce and we were like, man, it would be real cruel if we voted him out so fast again. I was willing to do it. But I think there might be people on the beach who would be like, man, that would be kind of mean to like cut the alternate right away.
Mhm.
Or it could be kind of savage and fun. So, but yeah, I don't think it's really. I think I talked about this with Rachel Lamont a little bit too. She obviously won and did well. I think being an alternate adds pressure because you just have been waiting for a year and you're like, I've had all this time. I should be the best. So I think it just adds a little bit
Right.
of pressure and stress to your game, honestly. But yeah, otherwise not. I don't think it's a concern. I guess if you got pulled in as the alternate, you could maybe be concerned about that. That is a possibility if they
But
realize early enough.
was there anything to like sort of like you got the dry run? It's almost kind of like that when you go to college that they have like an orientation weekend and you can go
Yep.
there and you stay at the college for a weekend and then you come home and then it's like, all right, I'm coming back in a couple of weeks. Like, is there anything to it? Like,
Maybe this is why I was everyone's winner pick because I knew what to expect during
yeah.
pre. That's possible. It is like the waiting is horrible. You're just sitting around all the time. So I think being mentally prepared for that because like you're obviously like stewing in your head for such a long time. Most people playing Survivor are like very outgoing. And so
Mhm.
this is like the worst time of their lives to have to be silent for 5 days. So to be like mentally prepared for that, have enough books and iPod situations like prepped, I think is helpful.
Yeah.
Honestly, though, I don't think it's that much of an advantage at the end of the day. I think it just makes it a little, honestly, hard.
Yeah. How many books do you have to bring with you to Ponderosa?
It depends how fast a reader you are.
Yeah.
But you need more than you think. The first time I went, I just brought The Alchemist. I think I read it, and I brought Brave New World. And I read The Alchemist like 3 times, which is a great book. Love it so much.
Mhm.
But you should bring like many books,
Yeah.
at least 3. Fill up the iPod.
Because I listened to John Lovett was on the Drop Your Buffs podcast, and I listened to the interview, and John Lovett was talking about how he brought
won the Oscar Villani Award, of which I won.
Oh, congratulations! And he talked about how he had 10 books with him. Like, I don't even think I own 10 books.
Can I tell you? I hope this is not mean. Nobody was more prepared for pregame than Jay Maya. She had a whole grocery bag full of books. Like literally, like like those reusable bags. It was.
Yeah.
I mean, she must have had 25 books.
25
I was
books.
like, damn, this girl likes to read. Woo! She was ready.
If somebody has so many books, though, is it sort of like, boy, I think I'm going to be maybe I'm going to be out of the game for a long time. Is there a point where that you have too many books? It's like you're preparing to be voted out.
Oh no, that's ironic because she probably spent like one of the least amount of times at Ponderosa because she was the merge boot.
Oh.
But yes, I did think it was. I was a little surprised by the amount of books, but I think she just loves reading. Like I would, like, had my iPod, I was ready to listen to music and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And she was just only going to read.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, incredible. People should read more.
I agree. People should read more. Ding.
Ding. Okay. All right. Let me see if I have one more Survivor question to ask you. Okay. Which tribe is more likely to lose the next immunity challenge? Just from Ingrid Glass.
This is a hard call because I would have never thought that Vula was going to go. Okay. Depends on what it is, right? I feel like the purple tribe is Mary's good at puzzles. They might be lacking a puzzle person.
Yeah.
Or maybe just Mary. Or Charity did some, but I'm not sure if she's actually good at them or not. Nothing's really been said. And they only have David, but Star and Eva are pretty strong.
Mm-hmm.
I think, honestly, though, a lot of times challenge prowess comes down to dysfunction level. So possibly Siva, because they don't really like each other. Any of them could be a problem. But you got Muscle Mitch, though. He's killing every challenge. If there's any
Muscle
more
Mitch.
throwing.
He's
You know what,
really
though?
good. He's got that gym
The
teacher, like
he
throwing
does. It's
things.
very gym teacher.
He's got like that Keith Nail thing of like anything with like a ball or like a
like a
sandbag.
carnival game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a
If you
Reynolds.
play at a Dave and Buster's, Mitch is going to win.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Which honestly, I literally did go to Dave and Buster's beforehand. I was like, let me toss these rings. Like,
hey,
it's fun.
What'd you think about Jeff on the like, hey, you think you got what it takes? Nails it with the beanbag.
How many takes do you think that took?
I don't know. Like, I like to think that maybe Jeff is like, he's been around these things.
Run a challenge. That's
maybe
a newer
he's
one,
like,
though. You know what I mean? So he hasn't had much experience with that.
Yeah, I mean, he was at that beach drop in New York. It would have been great to see him. I
didn't see him partake in any challenges, though.
I didn't see it either. Yeah,
I should have instigated Q to challenge him because he totally would have done it. He would have been like, Jeff, let's go.
Yeah,
get on this beam.
All right. Well, Kelly, this was so fun to go through everything. Anything else on your mind? Anything else from your notes?
Don't call out my notes.
What do you mean? You're not supposed to have notes? So people are like, wait, what? Kelly wasn't just like off the top of her head this whole time?
I'm over prepare, as we say. I will say this is an elite level swap. Something I said during the game, which was a little controversial because people get swap screwed. I was like, I think a tribe swap separates a good from a great Survivor player.
Mm-hmm.
I do think we watched that happen today, I would say. When I was talking about that, I was thinking about Micronesia and like Parvati's ability to like basically create this whole new alliance through the swap, even though it maybe didn't look so great on paper at the start. That's what I was thinking when I said that. But I think this is like proof that, the gamble of the swap. You can get a bad situation, but this is like,
That's why going to Mohegan Sun is the perfect place to find people. People are already playing dice, gambling.
To play risky. Maybe that's why they go there.
Mm-hmm.
Huh. You're on to something, Rob.
Yeah. Okay. People that are already trying their luck, come on out to Survivor and see how lucky you can get as well.
You got what it takes to play the slots at Mohegan Sun to play.
Yeah. I also have in our notes, you ran into Izzy from Big Brother's mom on the street.
The day after the other person recognized me. It was crazy.
It wasn't Izzy's mom that recognized your shirt, right?
No, but she said, not to bring Yale up again. Izzy also went to Yale. Okay.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I was wearing my Yale sweatshirt and like taking a walk. And Izzy's mom told me, she was like, I first looked at you because I was like, Isabel never bought me that nice of a Yale sweatshirt. And then she realized it was me. And Izzy has told me about her mom many times. Izzy and I live close to each other in New York. We like met up very soon after we both got back. It was one of the first people we hung out with, like cross, whatever. Mm-hmm. I'm a huge Izzy fan. I'm so excited for her. Yeah. But her mom was like, came up to me and was like, you know what? It's the same thing. You were so robbed, blah, blah, blah. So sad. And she was like, but you had the most authentic reaction. Mm-hmm. She kind of took a stab at Annika and was like, I don't know if I bought that. Oh. I was like, ooh.
Izzy's mom.
Yeah.
She felt like that was a little rehearsed.
Less authentic than mine.
Less authentic? Wow.
I know. Oh man, am I blowing up Izzy's mom's spot? Anyway, she was absolutely lovely. Mm-hmm. I was like, oh, of course you'd be Izzy's mom because she was so fun and funny. She teaches at a college nearby. That's why she was there. Or she's like a college guidance. I forget exactly what it is, but it was so fun.
Kelly, on Monday we're having Annika on the podcast. Can we bring this up?
Oh my God, I don't have Izzy's mom's number. I can't ask Izzy. Damn it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You know what? Let me discuss with my counsel, which would usually include me and Brandon. So it's just going to be Brandon. Mm-hmm. My friends are just, leaving me high and dry in my moment of need. They're off doing reality shows. Okay, that's pretty funny. That I feel bad though.
We'll find out. Okay, find out. You let me know.
One of my proudest things is that I feel like I let people have this moment at Tribal. I love that. That's been the ripple effects. And I appreciate Annika for continuing on the story tradition.
Yeah, until we had Thomas end it. with a hug.
You know what?
Hey,
I'm
give me a
hoping
hug.
that somebody this anyway. I love Thomas, by the way. I have to give him a little
I know you
because
do.
I've been pumping him up for 4
Yes.
weeks, as he well deserved. Every episode, I loved his first episode confessional about his social game. I thought it was A tier, S tier. So anyway, he can take a little heat for the hug.
Mm-hmm. Okay, Kelly, you did a great job talking on the street. Anything else you want people to know? Follow you, get cameos from you.
For sure, please.
Get your
merch.
merch.
Love doing a cameo. You can always, if the hug didn't do it for you, you can always order some What the Hell is Guys merch. I always go to close the store and then some random person orders one, and so then I'm like, oh, suck back in. So I appreciate it.
Will you give
Thank
March
so much.
Madness bracket advice on Cameo?
Totally. Oh my God, I would love to do that. I don't know why he'd ask me and not Sam, who was, CBS paid to give March Madness advice. Or
CBS paid Sam Fallon to give March
I
Madness
actually don't
advice?
know. I don't know. He was on their page though. He did like a CBS collab.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, I was like, oh, good. I love that. I love when they keep them in the fold. That's great. Yeah, and then if you didn't listen to the social game already, we have 6 evergreen episodes, as Brendan always tells us. They're always fun to listen to.
Yeah.
Parvati, Andrea, Wes. We made national headlines with Wes's pod, which was interesting.
Yeah, that was so wild, right? Because what happened was that you interviewed Wes, and he talked about how that Taylor Swift may have been dating Travis Kelce prior to it being reported. That was the story. And then weeks later,
weeks later,
was it Us Weekly that they picked up the story and ran with it?
Rob, it was in People. It was in Newsweek.
Yeah.
It was on Billboard. It was on people's Reddit page. Like, I think Venus said, like, this news. She DM'd me. It was like, this news came up just on my thing for no reason. And I was like, this is crazy.
Yeah.
Who knew?
Wow.
Anyway, so the social game is fun. Go check it out.
Yeah. Do you know any celebrities that we could break some news about that maybe this will become newsworthy?
No, I don't think so. Izzy, I sent Izzy
Did you
a
hear
photo.
that Izzy's mom thinks that Annika might have faked at tribal council?
What is funny? I sent Izzy a photo.
I mean,
her
look,
mom,
we can't get a Mike
didn't
Bloom
respond to
article
me.
out of that. Come on.
Oh no, Mike Bloom's gonna do one of his breakdown things after the Derek drama on Izzy Gleischer's mom, me and Annika.
I mean, hey, this is huge.
This is breaking news.
Breaking news.
Alert the Swifties.
Fire it up.
You know who told me about that? Charlie, obviously. Charlie was actually the first person to let
Charlie
me know.
got the news. He has the Taylor Swift Google alert, and then he got the news.
Alert. And he was like, wait a second. I know these people.
But he wasn't listening to the social game in the real time and didn't already know this information?
You know what? I don't know. He might know. He might not have known that it was so newsworthy. I feel like the level of knowledge about the relationship timelines was crucial information to be a news story, right?
Yeah. Okay. All right. I have a PSA for everybody. It's so important that all of us take time to vote in our elections here. Survivor 50 is in the hands of the fans. Please make sure that everybody goes out and make sure their vote is heard and counted for Survivor 50. It's in your hands, the fans, and just make sure that we're going out there and doing our duty as great citizens of Survivor Nation. Okay? Sorry, don't mean to get on my soapbox, but just important.
Hands of the fans, making plans.
Kelly, where can people keep up with you?
So, Instagram, probably the best place. Kellie Nalbandian. I'm Kellie Nalbandian on TikTok, Instagram, Kellie Nalb on X. Don't go to my Blue Sky because it's no longer my safe space. You can find me.
Is that where people go to post their secrets, is on Blue Sky?
I don't know. I started that May because I was like, it's only 2,000.
That's where people go to journal and post things.
It was when Facebook statuses used to be you just write anything when you were 15.
Post my private thoughts on Blue Sky.
Yeah, every single. It's it's just more less pressure. Yeah. But now it's been ruined.
Sorry, I didn't mean to blow up your spot. Okay. All right. Thank you so much for joining us. I love to read your comments about all of this stuff. So please keep them coming. And then we've still got a lot to do still this week. Friday, I'm going to be doing our patron Q&A. We're going to be taking questions it's in the hands of the fans when I talk to them Friday afternoon on the patron Q&A. Then over the weekend, on Monday, I will be bringing you Club Condo with Annika, and then our old school interview with Todd. I had a great old school interview with Abby Maria the other day, which was so much fun. It's evergreen, much like the Social Game podcast. You can listen to it anytime this week. It's not only about episode 3 of Survivor 48. If you're after, it's like, hey, I just listened to 2 hours and 15 minutes of podcast. You got anything else for me? Check out my interview with Abby Maria. Of course, you can get that. Go to watchrhap.com. Thank you so much for joining us. Take care. Have a good one. Bye. This is RHAP. We know reality TV.